is suing the father of her child, Joshua Schmidt, for a loan to buy a motorcycle. Joshua claims Amy slashed his tires on 2 occasions.
All rise. Now, this is case number 521 on the calendar in the matter of Beischer versus Schmidt.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat, please.
This used to be your boyfriend. When you were having a lapse in judgment while he was your boyfriend, you co-signed on a credit card for him to buy a dirt bike because he couldn't get it on his own.
Correct.
And the agreement was that he was to make the payments faithfully on that credit card.
That's correct.
He did make payments for a period of time on the credit card, and you separated. But he agreed to continue to make the payments on his bike, which he was using and which he took with him. Correct?
Correct.
Then there came a time that you and your fiancé, this would be fiancé, went to purchase a car, and you found out that your credit was awful. When you checked to ascertain why, according to your complaint, you found out that Mr. Schmidt had not been faithfully making on time the credit card payments on his bike. So what you want now is you want him to pay off that credit card so that hopefully you can get your credit restored.
That's correct.
Mr. Schmidt says that he was paying off the credit card until you slashed his tires.
That's ridiculous.
Shh. So that the fault is really yours for slashing his tires, causing him to lose his job. Have we joined the issue, Mr. Schmidt? Hello? You say in your answer it's really her fault.
Yes, I believe it is.
Perfect. I would like to see the date of the credit card loan and the history of payments.
I have that right here. This only goes back a year. They wouldn't.
Fine.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Schmidt, on what day, sir, do you claim your tires were slashed?
On May of 2006, I had 2 tires on my vehicle that were slashed. And then also again in October of 2006, I had another tire slash on my car.
Just a second. After which incident, sir, did you lose your job?
The second.
So it's really the October of 2006 incident that you claim caused you to lose your job.
Yes.
And fall behind in your payments.
Yes.
So it would be a fair statement, sir, that it wasn't until October of 2006 that you started making either late payments or skipping payments or anything else. Up until that time, they were okay.
Correct.
Okay, good.
Your Honor, can I point something out?
Shh. Maybe if I need some help. Well, sir, in September of 2006, which was before your tire was slashed, you had a late fee of $39.
Okay.
That's before, right?
Yep.
And in August, which was before your slashed tires, you had a late fee of $39.
That would be after the first.
You just told me, sir, that you didn't lose your job until after the October incident.
Yes, but missing days of work.
No. Baloney. The issue was that after the October incident, you lost your job because of the tire slashing, causing you to fall behind in your payments. And you said to me prior to that time you were on time with your payments. So we now have August and September where you were late. Are you following me, Mr. Schmidt?
Yes, I am.
Who is this?
This is my witness, Jason.
Maybe. Jason. Now we have July. Late, Mr. Schmidt. And how much, sir, were you supposed to pay every month?
It's about $70.
So sometimes you didn't pay at all. And then you sort of doubled up the next month, right?
Yes.
You can't do that. You know you can't do that. Look at what we have here. A June late assessment. And you didn't make a payment. Whole month of June.
Is it possible, though, that me without a vehicle, how is it possible for me to get to work, to make money, to make payments on this?
What are you talking about? Who cares about whether you have a vehicle?
How do you get to work?
I don't care how you get to work. Walk, crawl, get your witness to pick you up. Now, let's go back to before the first incident, Mr. Schmidt, that you allege she slashed your tires, which you have to prove to me anyway. Let's go back to April now. Even you will know, Mr. Schmidt, that April comes before May,
yes.
right? How do you account for the late charge in April, Mr. Schmidt?
I don't.
So the cock and bull story that you gave me is just that. You've been making late payments on this loan forever, because we also have one for March. So what do I care how you get to work? How did Abe Lincoln get to school? I'm waiting for an answer.
Walk.
That's what he did. He walked. And you remember from grammar school how many miles he walked to school every day?
No, I don't.
I think it was 5 miles each way, wasn't it, Bert? I think something like that. 5 miles each way. Do you understand, Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
When somebody else does a nice thing to you, what you're supposed to do is not be a pig. If you want to, you get the loan totally out of her name, and then if you want to screw up your credit, you do it. But you don't screw up her credit. Now, how much is left on the loan?
The grand total is about $6,700.
Well, the maximum I can award you is $5,000. You understand that, and the check will be directly to the credit card company which holds the loan.
Yeah.
You're still responsible, as is he, for the remainder of it,
Right.
and he's responsible to pay it.
Right.
Who do you work for?
I actually just got a new employment job. It's DeLuca and Tobin. It's a drilling company.
Well, you would have no objection if they deducted the remainder of the balance, anything over $5,000 from your check, would you? Listen to what I just said. You owe the money. You have the dirt bike, don't you?
Yes.
The maximum I can give her is $5,000. That will be made directly to the credit card company. You still owe them about $1,600. Are you prepared to sign an authorization to allow them to take the remainder of the money at periodic payments out of your check?
Yes.
Perfect. We will prepare that order and send it over to the drilling company and any other company that you might work for subsequently. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Mr. Schmidt, you sure you want me to do this to your friend? You sure you want me to do this to your friend?
Yes.
Be my pleasure, sir.
And later today,
You can't complain about it if somebody says, this is really funny. I want to send it to everybody that I know who knows this jerk who posted this on Craigslist.
Ashley Beischer claims the father of her child, Joshua Schmidt, owes for a $5,000 loan to buy a motorcycle. Joshua is countersuing, claiming Amy slashed his tires twice.
Okay, let's get to the slashed tires. Did you slash his tires in May?
Absolutely
You don't
not.
look like a tire slasher.
No.
You didn't see her slash your tires, did you?
No, I didn't.
Did you?
I did not see her. No.
Step up. Your name?
Jason
Jason what?
Moyer,
How do you know her?
through him.
When was the last time you had any contact with her?
While.
A while is not a month,
Well,
a
I
year.
don't talk to her, but I've seen her around town.
When was the last time you had contact with her?
Last fall, or around there.
Tell me about that contact.
Well,
Look at me.
I was at the bar and I had walked by and
Bar, what bar?
Krieger's possibly.
What do you mean Krieger's possibly?
Well, it was either that bar or another one over there.
What time?
Probably 8 or 9 at night.
What date?
I'm not exactly sure.
What month?
October or November.
Mr. Schmidt, you sure you want me to do this to your friend? You sure you want me to do this to your friend?
Yes.
Be my pleasure, sir. You're walking by the bar that you don't know on a date that you don't remember, in a year that perhaps you remember, and tell me what you believe you have that is germane to this case.
Well, I had heard her and her friends laughing about how his tires had been popped.
Yes?
Yeah, so I assumed she had something to do with it.
Oh, well, then you assume. Good. Do you have anything else that's germane to this case?
I did pick him up for work, too, a couple times.
I don't care about that. Sit down. You have anything else on the tire slashing, sir?
I just have a copy of, actually, no, I do not have
Good.
this on
Thank
me.
you very much. Your counterclaim is dismissed. You owe $5,000, and we will prepare an order for the remainder of the $1,600 to be deducted automatically from your check. Forward that to your employer with my love and hugs and kisses. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
I just excuse you, may step out.
I hope we have a friendship for my daughter's sake.
I do not know. Hopefully it gets better in time.
Just be a man. Take responsibility for his actions.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of London versus Bell. Step forward.
25-year-old Aaron London is suing his former co-worker, Corey Bell, for defaming his character at work. Aaron claims Corey passed around a phony Craigslist ad.
Mr. London, did you and the defendant work in the same company?
Yes, at one point we did.
This is your complaint. You put an ad in Craigslist. I gather you went to school to become a massage therapist?
Yes.
And you put an ad on Craigslist for massages with your picture on it. Does it have your picture?
Yes.
Mr. Bell saw that ad on Craigslist. Is that right, sir?
I did.
And he thought it was really funny that you had posted that ad on Craigslist. So far, am I right?
Yes.
So he circulated it around the office. He sent it to a lot of other people. He thought it was funny, like, you know, like people send jokes on the computer, and he sent it to a whole lot of other people. So you're suing him for defamation because you were very embarrassed.
Yes.
That's what this is all about. Mr. London, can I see the ad, please?
Yeah.
Okay. So this says, hello, ladies. Imagine casting your eyes upon this gorgeous whatever. It's got pictures of you, right? And it says, massage for big, beautiful women. Reply to personals, it looks like a number at Craigslist.org. And when people reply to this personal, they get you. Is that right?
Well, they get transferred to an email, yeah.
But it's you.
No, not in this particular case. There's a little bit more to the story that hasn't been revealed yet.
Sir, all I want to know
Yes.
is, it comes back to you.
Yes.
Now, is this the same ad that you sent to other people?
Yes.
You didn't modify it in any way?
No, didn't modify
You didn't change it, you didn't add words,
No,
you didn't...
no, I didn't. I just sent the link.
You sent the link and you said, take a look at this.
That's it.
That's not a crime, Mr. London. That's not a crime. That's not a lawsuit.
Yeah, there's a little bit more to it.
Well,
though.
give me 30 seconds, sir. That's what happened. You put this
Well-
ad that you didn't want to be circulated among your
No.
office mates. He circulated it among your office mates. If you didn't want it out there, you shouldn't have printed it.
Well, no, that actually isn't what happened. What happened is I work for the bank, and I also have a personal training and massage therapy business, like you said. And another kind of job side hustle that I do is I write personal ads for Craigslist. Also ads for businesses, whoever needs advertising.
Very nice.
who
I'm
lacks-
not an advertisement for you, sir. So you have a lot of businesses. You
And-
put this on Craigslist.
Yes, technically speaking.
That's what
But
we're here for.
That ad wasn't for me.
Who cares
I
who it
wrote
was
the ad
for?
for somebody else. This
Who cares who it was for? Who cares? He doesn't know that. All he knows is this is the ad that he saw on Craigslist. He had every right to send it to whoever he wanted to send it to.
to my workplace. Well, he doesn't work in the workplace anymore.
I don't care. He could have sent it to the King of Siam. He could have sent it to me. He could have sent it to the President of the United States. He could have sent it to the Vice President of the United States or the Secretary of the Interior. It doesn't make any difference. It's out there in cyberspace. It's open. That's what it is. It's like sending an open letter.
To send it to my job for what? For
Who
laughs?
cares? If you don't want to be embarrassed, you don't put embarrassing things on the internet, Mr. London. If you don't want to be embarrassed, keep your private thoughts to yourself.
But the ad is not mine, is what I'm trying to tell you. Can I actually tell you?
Listen, Mr. London, I understand the nonsense what you wrote in your complaint. You said you were doing an ad for somebody else, and this was just a sample of what the ad would look like. But Mr. Bell doesn't know that because you posted this on Craigslist.
But how does he know I posted it?
It doesn't make any difference whether he knows you posted it or not, sir. It's here. It's out there in the world. Just like he sees it, anybody else can see it. He can send it to whomever he wants to send it. The truth of the matter is, you did post it on Craigslist. Now, did somebody tie you down and take these pictures?
No, those are sample pictures.
Those are pictures that
The
you...
pictures don't even match the ad, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh,
it's
yes,
not
they
even...
do. Oh, yeah, listen, Mr. London, you can tell me whatever you want to tell me, sir. This may have aggravated you. It may have upset you. It's a very good lesson. If you want to think privately, you go, I want to take it all in, and this is what I want to do. I want to keep these thoughts to myself. If you want to give massages to big, beautiful women, and that's what you're thinking about, and I'm going to see it, but I'm not going to write it in a letter to my mother or my sister or my boyfriend or my girlfriend. I'm going to keep it to myself. Once you type it in the machine and you write send, it's over. It's out there. It's in Mexico and Burma and
Jersey.
Jersey and Brooklyn. It's all over the place. And you can't complain about it if somebody says, this is really funny. I want to send it to everybody that I know who knows this jerk who posted this on Craigslist. So, Mr. London, grow up. You want to keep things to yourself? You want to talk into your pillow. Don't talk into your computer. Case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We were great friends. I mean, he sat on my couch, he got drunk with me. You know, we hung out together.
Well, it's not necessarily what was posted. It was the intent behind it.
If it was me, my friends would have sent out the same. I would have been embarrassed. Oh, okay, I got busted, I got caught. That's it. He got caught with his pants down.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Powell versus Rust. Step forward, please.
25-year-old Brenda Powell is suing her ex-roommate, Angela Rust, for breaching their rental agreement.
Thank you, Bird.
You're welcome, Jay.
Don't get comfy.
You're not going to be here long?
No.
Okay.
Miss Powell, this used to be your roommate.
Correct.
How long did you share an apartment together?
It was a period of about 5 months, but it was supposed to have been 13.
And then, according to your complaint, owing to problems that were generated by the defendant, you had to move.
I had no choice, yes.
And you moved into another apartment, and the rent on that apartment was more than your half of the rent on the apartment that you shared together. So you want her to pay the difference on your one-bedroom apartment that you have to pay now because she wasn't a good roommate.
Correct.
Good. That's not a case. So, sorry to tell you, we don't do cases like that because it's ridiculous. If you wanted to move back with your mother, you could have done that. Who are you?
Her friend, Natalie.
Natalie, do you have an apartment?
I do.
You could have moved in with Natalie.
No.
In any event, there is no cause of action for paying the difference between the roommate's half and your apartment now. Do you understand? There's no cause of action for
Yes,
that.
there is. I was forced to move into the one bedroom. My only other option was to break the lease and pay $7,500.
Well, then maybe you should have.
ma'am, I
Then maybe you
offered to
should have
help her.
done. I'm speaking. Then maybe you should have done that, and then you might have had a cause of action.
But I wouldn't have had a place to
But you
live.
don't have a cause of action by moving into a one-bedroom and asking her to pay the difference. That doesn't happen. Goodbye.
Yeah, this is case number 471 on the calendar, the matter of Key versus Johnson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
You're going to find this really interesting, Bird. Guaranteed. You see, Miss Johnson over here got stopped by the police for a traffic infraction. The first time you were stopped, what kind of violation was it, Miss Johnson?
Speeding.
Speeding. And how fast were you going?
I think I was going like 60, I think, 50.
Could you keep your voice up, please?
Like 60 or about 55.
And when she got stopped for speeding, according to the complaint, which is, you know, not disputed by the defendant, she gave her cousin's name. Your cousin?
Yeah. Yes,
She gave her cousin's name because she didn't want to get in trouble. And that worked out just fine, except she never showed up to pay the ticket or anything else. She just let it go. Right?
Yes.
Then she got stopped again. And she figured it worked so well the first time, according to her.
Why not?
She gave her cousin's name again.
This must be her favorite cousin.
And what did you get stopped for the second time, Miss Johnson?
Running a stoplight.
In what jurisdiction do you live?
Los Angeles.
She again gave her cousin's name.
Well, can I explain the first time, you know?
It's not funny. I don't think you're funny.
I
don't think you're funny at all. So let me go further, and then we're going to get the details of this fiasco because, you know, I like to sort of lay out the situation. So she gives her cousin's name twice. Her cousin finds out about it. How?
I was getting insurance on my car, and the lady notified me that my license was suspended, and I had 2 tickets on my record. And I could not get insurance until the license was cleared up.
So your license, they suspended your license?
Yes, ma'am.
You're lucky they didn't issue a warrant for your arrest.
Yes. And this was, I was driving around, I didn't find out till like 10 months later that my license, it has been suspended 5 months before I even knew about it.
So she and her cousin discuss it, and she decides to do the responsible civic thing and goes to court and pleads guilty.
I plead guilty.
Yeah, she pleads guilty.
Okay.
And and they assess her fines. And this is what the case is about. She wants her cousin to pay the fines, all the fines, for the 2 tickets she got.
Your
And
Honor.
the cousin says, I don't know. We're family. Because I was trying to understand what your defense is. So before I go on, I want to tell you both the following. What you did was a crime, Miss Key. Do you know that?
No.
Well, I'm going to explain that to you. When you go into court and you pled guilty, someone said to you, raise your right hand, you swear to tell the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
And then they said to you, what is your name?
Dewani Key.
And you told them your name.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, how are you pleading?
Guilty.
You said, I'm pleading guilty.
Uh-huh.
And you're pleading guilty because you were guilty.
No, ma'am.
Well, that's what you were doing. When you enter a plea of guilty, what you're doing is you are perpetrating a fraud on the court. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a crime. You can't do that. You can't do that. And when you gave her name, that is a crime. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Is this the first time somebody told you it was a crime?
No, it's not.
When for the first time did somebody tell you it was a crime, Miss Johnson?
The second time after I did it.
You mean you didn't know the first time?
Well, the first time I was intoxicated and I just said the first thing came to my mind.
So not only were you speeding, you were drunk and speeding.
It was my birthday. Well, I mean, I was turning 21. So I was intoxicated that day.
Judge, the only reason why I pled guilty, she agreed to pay me. So we didn't have to go through all these court processes. She said, I'll pay you for it, don't worry about it. Under that, I said, okay. Once I got that money, I told her, this is how much it costs, you owe me this, and it has to be done by August 8th. That was our court date. I didn't get any money but $50 from her.
Just a second. You have a driver's license?
Yes, I do.
Go get it.
Your Honor, at the time she did.
Get your driver's license.
I didn't bring it with me today.
Go get your pocketbook. Get it and bring it in. Fast.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind?
Well, she told me she was going to do community service
She's
for
not
it.
doing community service for you. Why should she do community service for you? What are you doing?
And later today,
Don't bother me with nonsense. You hear about furniture.
Well, when
Don't throw in the kitchen sink to a lawsuit because judges get irritated, especially this one.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Dewanique Key says her cousin, Datiana Johnson, used her identity during 2 traffic stops. Datiana claims on the first occasion, she was drunk.
Empty your pocketbook. Is that your driver's license?
My California ID.
I'll take it. Now empty your pocketbook. I want the driver's license.
I don't have the driver's license here.
Then empty your pocketbook.
You want me to take everything out of my purse?
I want you to give me your driver's license.
I didn't bring it. I didn't drive today.
Unless this court receives your driver's license, madam, within 3 days, it is my intention to inform the police department in Los Angeles to confiscate your driver's license. Do we understand each other? Do we understand each other?
Yes. Can I ask why, though? I mean, this is like...
Because you perpetrated a fraud on the court. Her driver's license was suspended when yours should have been suspended. Don't you get that?
And I had a failure to appear.
Don't you get that? Your driver's license should have been suspended. You were driving according to you drunk. You got a speeding ticket. You gave somebody else's name. The second time you did the same thing. You ran a red light and gave somebody else's name. And you still have a driver's license. Your driver's license should have been suspended. And if I don't get your driver's license so that you don't have it, it is my intention to inform the police department in Los Angeles, which I may do anyway. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
This belongs to me. Now, you have 30 seconds to tell me why you don't owe those fines.
Because I was under the impression that she did community service.
Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your
Well,
mind?
she told me she was going to do community service
She's
for
not
it.
doing community service for you. Why should she do community service for you? What are you doing?
She was doing it for herself.
I don't understand what you mean she was doing it for herself.
Meaning because it's in my name.
I don't understand what you mean she was doing it for herself.
Because she called me and told me that the judge ordered her to do community service. So when she told me that, I thought it was taken care of.
What do you do for a living?
Right now, I'm not employed.
How do you support yourself?
I have ways.
How do you support yourself?
My daughter's father.
Supports you?
Child support, basically.
Who do you live with?
My mother.
Why don't you work?
I was employed. I just recently stopped.
Why?
I was working through an agency, and they're looking for another job for me.
What kind of car do you drive?
A Cadillac.
I asked you a question. An answer I want.
A Cadillac.
What year?
98.
In whose name is the car?
It's in my name.
Where is it registered?
In Los Angeles.
Yes.
She just got that car, so she had plenty of time to pay me back. This car is brand new. Paid cash.
You must get a lot of child support. In any event, Miss Key, to whom do you owe the fines?
The Los Angeles District Court from Traffic Division, I believe.
And how much is owed to them?
Roughly $1,700. One ticket was $1,189, and the second ticket was $565.
Now, Miss Key.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't get any award for brains because what you did was so wrong. And I understand that you may feel as if, well, it's family and you didn't want her to get into trouble.
Yes, ma'am.
But what you did was against the law. You do understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, you deserve to have a consequence. I assume that you did already have a consequence.
I had enough.
You had enough?
Yes.
I believe that that's probably true. She hasn't had any yet. But believe me, she's going to have plenty because she's not going to have a license to drive around in this new Cadillac that's in her name. Because I had this. And the police department is going to be notified of her scam. You get it? Perfect. $1,754, judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I just think this is absolutely ridiculous.
I'm happy with the decision.
I know I did something wrong, but, you know...
This is on my record.
I gave her $50.
$50? Come on.
Some people don't get nothing.
The ticket's what, $1,700? $50 couldn't make or break our tickets.
Yeah, I just have to get over it now.
I hope that she doesn't do it again.
She got her ruling, and now leave me alone.
She keeps where she stays, I keep where I stay.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Miller versus Simpson. Step forward.
25-year-old Leah Miller is suing her ex-roommate, 21-year-old waitress Angelica Simpson, for her share of the furniture purchased for their apartment.
Miss Miller, you and Miss Simpson were friends and roommates for a while. You claimed that when she moved out, she took half the furniture in the apartment that you had both purchased on a credit card.
Correct.
You are stuck with the credit card, and she took half the furniture.
Correct.
Ms. Simpson says she did not take half the furniture.
Correct.
She only took a bed.
A bedroom set.
Bed. And she left items there that are worth far more than the bed that she took. Now, when did you move in together?
February of 2005.
Was it a one-year lease?
It was actually 15 months.
And when did you move out?
I left the last weekend in January.
And that was by agreement?
Correct.
When did you purchase the furniture?
February of 2005.
What did you purchase?
She purchased a bedroom set. I purchased a bedroom set.
When you say she purchased a bedroom set and you purchased one, were they purchased on two different credit cards or one credit card?
No, they did a joint account for both of us. So we were both liable for it.
Okay. Continue.
I also purchased a living room set, and she purchased her bedroom set, which included a bed, a dresser, an end table, a mattress. I purchased the same thing, plus a living room set, which included a couch, a coffee table, an ottoman, and a love seat.
Okay, go ahead.
One night, I came home, and I saw her and her friends playing quarters on my brand new coffee table. I confronted her about
Well,
it.
when you say you purchased the living room furniture,
yes.
Were you jointly paying the bill with her?
We had separated her cost for my cost, and we came up with an agreement that she would pay me $60 a month for her portion, and then I would pay the rest.
She only has responsibility for the bedroom furniture.
Correct.
And that's all that you're suing for.
Well, also, as the time went on, as we were living together, I found things missing from my room.
I don't care about things missing from your room.
Well, I had to purchase a lock to put on there, and I came home with her playing games on my...
Listen to me. I don't care if you had to put a lock on your room. I read it. You had to put a lock on your room for $2?
It was actually 15. Yeah.
In the scheme of things, you're talking about nothing.
Well, I had things missing from my room. Shirts, underwear I had missing from my room.
Good. I'm not bothering with that.
Yeah. Okay.
You had other people living there, other people staying there, other people staying over. Don't bother me with nonsense. You hear about furniture.
Well, when
Don't throw in the kitchen sink to a lawsuit because judges get irritated, especially this one. Okay. How much was your bedroom furniture?
The whole set together was around $1,300. It was like $1,300 and some change.
Actually, Your Honor, I have evidence that hers was $1,412.
That would be including the tax, probably.
$1,412. And how much of that did you pay, Miss Simpson?
I started paying her when I moved out. Like I said, I left a TV there that I had purchased for $500. There's also entertainment center, dishes, mirrors, things of that nature that were there that I had left there that I didn't take.
Just a second. Did you have, Miss Simpson, any agreement?
Yes.
Listen, you're not letting me finish my sentence. Did you have an agreement with Miss Miller that in lieu of paying your portion of the bill, $1,412, you were going to leave items in the apartment?
No.
Then I'm not interested in what you left.
But that's where I was going with this. I had moved out of the apartment and had paid her $55 for so on months. Then
just a second.
You talk
very.
Didn't start. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
You paid her $55 a month for how many months?
It was for 6 months.
Okay.
No.
Shh, just a second. $55 a month for 6 months.
Yes.
Okay, that would be $330.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Then I'm a waitress, so I make all my money in tips, and I was paying her in cash. A incident arose with my mom when she pointed out that it was both my name and Miss Miller's name on the contract. So if I was paying her the money, how would I know that she was paying it to More Furniture? So I went into More Furniture and wanted to separate my name for her name on the account. They told me I was not allowed to do that.
Correct.
And that if we didn't pay off the money by the date with no interest, we would have to pay all of the back interest. When I brought this up to her, she did not want to give me receipts for the back payments, nor she had also moved out of the state and had given me a P.O. box where I could send her money, but I wasn't getting anything in return for paying her money. So my agreement was, well, if you're not...
What do you mean your agreement?
Or my side of it was, if you're not going to be proving to me that I'm paying you and give me a copy of the statement, then I will pay the money directly to More Furniture, but not to you.
So
you don't need to be the middleman.
Did you do that?
No, because she hasn't been making the payments. They told me that
Don't tell me what they told you.
Okay.
Do you have your statement?
Yeah, I have all the statements right here.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Here's the statement. Sorry.
How much money, if any, did she give you after she moved out?
$320.
No, she's making the payments.
Well, and this is my issue is, like you said, my furniture and her furniture is together, and there wasn't a minimum payment. So when or if it's not paid off, it's still gonna hurt my credit. That's what I'm saying. I have no problem paying the furniture. That's not the issue. I will pay the furniture and More Furniture. It was contacting Leah to make the payment.
But right now it's more than $1,412 because right now they've added interest.
Right.
Right.
But they won't separate us from each other.
That's why.
So there's just a second. Well, she's paying something. You're paying nothing.
Sure. No, and I understand that. But
but you have to pay something, madam. Where are you sleeping?
Well, I have a house.
You're sleeping on the bed.
Yes.
So you have to pay something.
I understand that. But I have an agreement with More Furniture to pay the furniture.
I don't see that. Where are you standing there all by yourself with a big smile? Where is the agreement that you have with More Furniture
I can't get a copy of it because my name and her name's on it without her permission.
Just a second. So how can you have an agreement without a copy of the contract?
Well, that would be the original contract.
No.
Okay.
Okay. 1,412 less 320 is $1,092.
Can I say something?
Sure.
In the months that I have been paying it, I've had to pay extra, and I was working 2 jobs. I know it's $60.
That's good for you.
But I have had back payments and all this stuff that I've had to come up with.
Good. That's what happens when you act stupid and take out a joint credit card with somebody. She owes you $1,092. And as soon as you receive that money, you will sign an agreement with her that the court will prepare that you are totally indemnifying her against any claim by Miller Furniture for this furniture, and they can deduct forthwith from your salary or your income tax refund, if any. Okay. You do work, don't you?
Yes.
Perfect. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,092. Wait around to sign the contract. Thank you.
Yeah, it's case number 585 on the...
Just take your hands out of your pockets. Stay right where you are. Thank you.
Yeah, it's case number 585 on the calendar in the matter of Hillesheim versus Thompson.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated, gentlemen. Have a seat, please.
Mr. Hillesheim, you own a restaurant?
I do, yep.
What kind of a restaurant is it?
It's a sandwich shop, Herbert and Gerbert's.
According to your complaint, Mr. Thompson came into your restaurant on a particular day. What day was it?
February 9th, about 1:50 in the morning.
And according to you, he came in intoxicated.
No, he was drunk.
That's what I said.
.256.
And he started a fight, and he went through your plate glass window. You want him to pay to repair the window.
Plus the neon sign was broke, too.
Mr. Thompson says in his counterclaim that one of your employees pushed him through the plate glass window, and he is counterclaiming for $5,000 for his medical bills and his pain and suffering. Right? That's your counterclaim.
Yeah, exactly.
How old are you, sir?
22 years old.
Where had you been drinking on the night of February 9th?
Well, I started at Scheid's Bar, and I made it down to Brothers, and those are the only two bars.
What time had you started?
You know, honestly, I couldn't even tell you.
Was it dark?
Yeah, it was dark out.
Who were you with?
I was with a whole bunch of people, a whole group. There was like probably 15 of us out that night or so.
Who went to the sandwich shop?
It was me, Jared, my other roommate, Nate.
How many of there were you?
There was like 5 of us in there.
How did you get there?
I just walked.
From where?
Brothers Bar.
And what did you go in there for?
I just wanted to get a sandwich.
When you got in there, what happened, Mr. Thompson?
Basically, I was...
Do you remember what happened?
Yeah, I do.
You weren't too drunk to remember?
No.
Were the police called that night?
Well, yeah.
Did they take a blood alcohol reading on you?
Yes, they did.
What was it?
It was .256, but I must say this was after my arm was cut and I'd lost probably over a pint of blood. I don't know if that's going to affect my blood alcohol content.
Nah, you got plenty of blood, sir. You got plenty of blood.
It was a .256, yeah.
So well over the legal limit.
Yeah.
But you remember everything that happened?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much.
After I lost all that blood in my arm, I started getting kind of out there a little bit.
You'd been to the restaurant before?
Yeah.
Ever had any trouble there before?
No, never.
So tell me what happened when you walked in.
Basically...
No, not basically. Look at me and tell me what happened. You walk in with your 5 friends.
Yeah, me and my friends went in there to go get a sandwich, and basically the next thing you know, I get...
I don't want to hear basically. If you say you remember what happened, sir,
No.
I want to hear what happened. Don't look down. You want somebody else to tell me what happened?
No.
Yeah.
Shh. Quiet.
No.
I'll get to you.
Fair enough.
I went into the sandwich shop. I was assaulted by another man.
Nothing happened first. You didn't say anything to anybody.
No.
Okay, let's stop with you. Let's go. Were you there that night?
No, I wasn't there that night.
You were. Step up. Tell me your name.
Name's Brett.
Brett?
Brett.
Where are you?
Where am I?
Yeah, you're in a court. Do you have a last name?
Keys. I'm sorry.
What do you do in the sandwich shop?
I'm usually a delivery guy, but at that particular night, I was working behind the counter.
Do you remember Mr. Thompson and his group coming in?
I do.
You remember what happened?
I do.
You want to tell me what happened?
Well, I was working behind the counter at the time, and I heard an altercation begin, so I walked around the counter and began wiping off the tables so I could make sure nothing got out of control.
What did you hear?
Right away, all I heard was just Mr. Thompson talking about this girl going home with this black male, and I didn't think anything of it at the time, but then...
Do you remember what he said?
I don't remember. I could just hear him saying something.
Your Honor, I could clear this up real easily, too, if you'd like. I'd get it explained.
You weren't there.
I know I wasn't, but...
Then you can't explain.
I've got a guy here, though, that actually can.
Oh, you have another witness?
Yeah, see, I think he was...
Well, just a second. If you have another witness, I'll hear the other witness because this one is fuzzy.
Okay.
Where's the other witness?
Dante. Gonna bring Dante out.
Dante who? That's okay.
Sorry, dude. John Blanks.
Dante. Here's your right hand. You swear to tell the truth in these matters?
I do.
State your name for the record.
Dante Pettis.
Mr. Pettis, I assume you were in Mr. Hillesheim's restaurant.
Yes, ma'am.
On the evening of February 9th.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you eating there?
I wasn't actually eating there. me, 2 female friends, and another male friend of mine. They were actually eating. We were waiting for a cab at the time of the altercation.
Can you tell me what happened, if you remember what happened with Mr.
I remember
Thompson?
very well. As we sat at one of the booths, he came up and was making comments towards, like, racially, saying, like, why are you going home with these guys or whatever? The only thing they're going to do is, like, sleep with you tonight and then never call you and things of that nature.
So he was addressing this group that you were with?
Yes.
Was he using any words that were negative?
It wasn't actually the words that was negative, it was just the demeanor of which he was using them.
How far was he standing from your table when he said that?
Oh, at that time he was maybe right at the end of the table.
So what happened next, Mr. Pettis?
I was a bouncer. I've been a bouncer in the city of Winona, so I know how to kind of diffuse the situation. So me and the 2 young ladies decided to go outside just to wait for the cab out there. And one of the young ladies walked back in, and I saw her say something. I don't know exactly what she said. I don't know who she was talking to or whatever. So I walked in following that. Next thing I heard was, oh, you think I'm racist? You think I'm racist? I'm the wrong MFer, to be called racist and this and that. Next thing...
Who was saying that?
He was. Then the next thing, he swung at me.
Swung at you?
Yes, he took 2 swings at me. I retaliated.
Take hands out of your pockets.
I actually retaliated. I hit him a couple times, and that's when Brent kind of came from behind the counter already or whatever. He tried to defuse the situation or whatever, and the young man over there was pretty drunk at the time, and he slipped through the window.
You don't remember any of that, Mr. Thompson?
Any of that just went on? I do remember some of that.
Well, how come you forgot all about that when you were telling me what happened? The next thing you knew, you said you got... When I asked you what happened, you said you walked in, and the next thing you knew, you got pushed through a plate glass window. You forgot all about this whole thing.
See, I didn't know. I thought I was coming here today to pretty much go to court over me getting thrown through the window. I didn't know any of this stuff was going to be part of it at all.
What do you mean you didn't know that was...
I didn't know. Pretty much what I thought it was like that. The only thing that I was pretty much going to come here to pretty much argue was just the fact that I was thrown through a window unreasonably.
Well, just a second. Mr. Thompson, there were events that led up to that. You didn't walk into a restaurant and order a tuna on whole wheat toast, and somebody said, I don't like people who order tunas on whole wheat toast. He'd go through a plate glass window. There was something that transpired, Mr. Thompson, that led up to an altercation.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Right here, you see Brett grab onto me, and I can just get tossed and watch. Not only does he do that, he keeps throwing me around. Watch him.
I don't see him throwing
I'm still
you.
getting thrown. That's me right there, getting thrown around by him still. Look at him.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Restaurant owner Nathan Hillesheim says a drunken customer, Carl Thompson, fell through a plate glass window in his store. Carl claims he was pushed through the window by one of Nathan's employees.
So when I ask you what happened...
You know, Your Honor, this is so ridiculous that I can't even believe this is... No, what's going on right now, Your Honor, is all these guys know each other. Like, everything that he said is flipping everything around. They're flipping it upon me. Like, I didn't say anything racist to him at all the whole time. There was nothing of the sort. I don't even know who was yelling out the door or whatever. And all of a sudden, the next thing you know, Your Honor, I'm sitting there, and he left to go outside, and he comes back in, and I get blindsided hit. That's what happened. That's how the fight started, and then I retaliated after that.
And when you retaliated, what happened?
Nothing. I just was defending myself on it. Like, he came and he blindsided, hit me in the face. I didn't even know what was going on, and like, I was just a scramble after that, pretty much.
I'd love to see the video, because I understand that there's a tape.
Yeah.
But take your hand out of your pocket. Wouldn't have had any trouble, Mr. Thompson, if you weren't drunk. Listen to me, sir. We wouldn't be standing here today if a 22-year-old didn't drink to the extent that he got diarrhea of the mouth and said things that he shouldn't have. We wouldn't be here today. Whether they acted appropriately or not is another issue.
Your Honor,
I'm speaking. The problem emanated from the fact that you lost control of your ability for reasoned judgment by drinking too much. And if you didn't, you wouldn't have gone through a plate glass window, and you wouldn't have had any problem. The problem started with you. With you. Because there isn't a question in my mind, Mr. Thompson, that you made statements to this man and his 3 companions that if you had not had too much to drink, you wouldn't have said. Now, whether they overreacted is another issue.
Exactly.
The fault lies with you. So stop thinking of yourself as a victim. How long have you owned the sandwich shop?
5 years.
How many times has somebody gone through your window?
First one.
You think it's an accident that the first person that went through his window had a 2.56 blood alcohol reading? You think that that's an accident?
Your Honor, once again.
I'm asking you a question. You think that it's an accident that in 5 years, the only person that went through his window had a 2.56 blood alcohol reading?
Your Honor, everyone that goes in there at that time of the night, Herbert's and Gerbert's is right located by all the bars.
Just a second. Is what you're going to tell me everyone who goes in there is drunk?
No, but what I'm saying is that...
Just a second.
They have fights and there's always drunk people there, so...
I said to you, fine, very good. So what you're saying to me is that in 5 years of drunken people going into his bar at 1 o'clock in the morning, you're the first drunk that went through the plate glass window. And I'm saying to you, do you think that that's some sort of serendipity? Now I'll see the video. I've gotten it out of my system. Idiot.
If I could, Your Honor, it's a kind of choppy video. It's not very clear at all. Could I have Brett to actually explain what goes on the video?
You won't explain to me, sir, if I can't see it.
Okay, cool.
Mr. Pettis, can you tell me what's going on here, please?
May I approach the
Yes,
TV,
please.
Thank you. If you see, this is like the group of people. I'm actually standing over here, and he's right there. He just took a swing at me. The video's kind of chopped up. He took a swing at me. I retaliated, and that's how everything gets pushed over.
All right, so now everything is pushed over towards the window.
Yes.
Go ahead.
It was like when we were all over here, he was separating us, and at that point in time is when he slipped through the window. Brett actually...
Well, I don't see that point.
Yeah, Your Honor, this is not clearly showing it at all. I have a better video on this laptop over here where I can clearly go through it frame by frame, and I've got it. I can clearly show this a lot better, Your Honor. Yeah, there was absolutely no...
Take your hands out of your pockets.
Excuse me. Okay. Let's see here. And it goes frame by frame. Okay, you see absolutely everyone's just chilling. No one's really, I mean, he's just sitting there. There's some people.
But you get to the point where you're going through the window.
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting to it. It's frame by frame. You see Brett walk over, right there. Right here, you see Brett grab onto me and he grabs me and like, kind of like does a throw through the window a little bit.
I don't see that at all.
There I am right there. I wasn't stumbling drunk, Your Honor, not one bit. And I could just get tossed and watch him follow me through there. Not only does he do that, he keeps throwing me around. Watch him.
I don't see him throwing
I'm still getting thrown out to me right there, getting thrown around by him still. Look at him.
Does it look to you, sir, as if you keep trying to move forward, as he's trying to take you back?
That's after I'd already been through the window. That's after I'd already been through the window, though. And he still kept on me.
Just a second.
Yeah.
So after you've been through the window, you're still off trying to get Dante? Is that what happened?
Not at all.
Well,
No.
that's what looks as if it's happening here, sir.
No, not one bit. That's not it at all.
Take it back.
Excuse me.
That is not one bit. He grabbed me and started dragging me.
After this altercation, after he went through the window and he was still trying to come at me, that's when Brett had him like trying to restrain him.
When he went through the window, was he outside or inside?
Well, he fell into the window. He was like, his lower half was still inside of the store, but the upper part of him was kind of outside the store.
Got it. So when he got up, because I saw him get up
he got pulled back
inside
in.
the store.
Yeah, he was coming after me again. My buddy that was still in there pushed me outside, grabbed me, made me go outside, and was like, just telling me to leave. That's when his other friend decided to come out, and I guess he had a few choice words for me, and he wanted the altercation to continue.
You were there?
Yes, ma'am.
Up. Now, Mr. Orr, how many people got into an altercation that night?
2.
How many people from your group?
1.
Who was that?
Carl.
Carl who?
Carl Thompson.
Now, do you think that that's just a coincidence that of the 5 people in your group, the only one that was drunk got into an altercation?
No, ma'am.
You think that that was because he was drunk?
Yes.
Did you hear him make any comments at all to Mr. Pettis and the group of people that he was sitting with?
No, I heard no comments made.
So you didn't hear Mr. Thompson say anything to them?
No, the only thing that I saw is when he came back into the restaurant, and then I saw a punch go right at Carl's face.
The police were called. Were you there?
Yes.
Who was taken into custody?
Nobody.
Nobody at all? Anybody arrested that night?
No.
How come?
Well, I wasn't there, so my brother went down and handled it that night.
Was there a police report?
Yes, there is.
I'd like to
I think
see
this
it.
details everything
I'd like
pretty
to
well.
see the police
If you got any
report,
questions
please.
throughout this,
Could you just answer my
more than
question?
happy to answer them.
Somebody who wasn't there, you sure have a lot to say. Mr. Orr, you remember speaking to a police officer that night?
Yes.
You remember telling the police officer in response to his questions if they had been in a fight, that they both indicated that they had not been in a fight and you were with Mr. Thompson? Do you remember that?
No, I didn't say that.
Well, that's what the police officer says. Says that when the police arrived, they saw you and Mr. Thompson walking. He asked where you were coming from, and you indicated that you were coming from Scheide's bar, the opposite direction they had been walking, and well after bar closing time. So you lied to the police, according to the police. I exited my squad car and approached on foot. Again, I asked if they had been in a fight, and they both indicated that they had not been in a fight. I then observed a small drop of blood on the shirt of Orr. That would be you. Thompson was standing behind Orr and slightly offset. I then observed Thompson's left hand was all bloody and he was dripping blood, and then I requested rescue. That's what the police officer says. I'm just reading the police report.
Yeah, Jared was never actually in a fight at all. And like with me,
Listen to me, Mr. Thompson. If a police officer came up and I was all bloody and I had been pushed through a plate glass window, and according to you, you had been blindsided by a punch to your face in the bar, and a police officer said, first, where are you coming from? I wouldn't have lied and say I was coming from a bar, because that was a lie. You would say I was coming from the sandwich shop. And then if I was asked by the police officer, was there a fight? I would have said, yeah, there was a fight. I got pushed through a plate glass window.
And I did. Your Honor, like I said, and it shows on the police report, I had bled copious amounts of blood. I'd been punched.
Thompson, not from your brain.
But by after the point when I went through that window, and at that point, like, I got no recollections even of talking to that officer at that point.
You know why?
Because I'd lost so much blood.
No. Listen to me. If you lost that much blood, sir, so that you were delirious, you couldn't have been walking.
I lost a lot of blood, Your Honor.
Oh, God. You're standing here, aren't you? Orr stated that a group of black males attacked Thompson at the sandwich shop. And then Mr. Rohr, according to the police, at least said that Orr told me that one of the black males displayed a handgun in his waistband. I did not believe Orr about the handgun or the way Thompson had received the cut, because you told the police that he got the cut by being punched so many times. At CMH, I assume that's the hospital, I spoke with Thompson. He admitted that he had been kicked out of the bar earlier that night for fighting with some black guys.
That didn't even happen
Thompson
at all.
stated he was sitting in the sandwich shop eating when the black guys entered and began to racially harass him by calling him white boy and white. Oh.
Your Honor, at that point, that wasn't even right.
I know you were delirious from your loss of blood.
It wasn't even right of the police to try to get a statement at that point.
Just a second. Okay, what was the bill for the window?
The window to replace it was $344.96.
Cheap.
Neon sign was $90. Got receipts here if you'd like to take a look at them.
$434.96. Mr. Thompson, which is what?
$344.96.
What?
$344.96.
Plus the sign.
Plus the sign is $90.
No, I said $434.96.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No?
Yeah, you're right.
Let's do it again.
And I did graduate college, sorry.
No, I'm not good in math. I have one of these.
All right, see, you're cheating. You're cheating.
Right.
Mr. Thompson, you owe the plaintiff $434.96. Your counterclaim is dismissed. You brought the incident on yourself that evening. Next time, sir, don't drink. You can't handle it. Your counterclaim's dismissed. That's all.
Your Honor, this is case number 464 on the calendar in the matter of Strand versus Johnson.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Strand, is this your ex-wife?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
And you have one child together?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your claim is that after you divorced, you were paying child support, not always consistently.
Yes.
And there came a time that your former wife remarried, and she approached you with the idea of asking you to relinquish your parental rights, allowing her husband to adopt your child, a girl, in exchange for forgiving the arrears that you owed her in child support.
Yes, Your Honor.
You thought about that and decided that that would be a good idea.
After a period of time, yes, Your Honor.
And did, in fact, go to court and relinquish your parental rights.
I didn't go to court. I just went to the lawyer and signed off on the papers.
When did you do that?
I believe it was approximately June of 2005.
So your parental rights were terminated?
Yes, after the adoption was finalized.
Your claim is the state is now coming against you for the $3,800 that you owed in back child support.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you say that they're doing that despite the fact that you had an agreement with Miss Johnson.
Yes.
So you want the $3,800 because lots of bad things have happened to you. Like what, sir?
I've lost my driver's license and my source of income. I'm unable to find work right now.
What kind of work did you do?
I'm a truck driver by trade.
Miss Johnson says you never had a contract with her.
Correct.
When was this arrearage accumulated?
It started occurring when we'd separated before the divorce, and it had gone on and off when I'd get laid off in the wintertime and was unable to make payments through my unemployment until I got back to work and started paying again.
How many children did you have?
I have one with him.
And how many others?
2 others.
How old are they?
They are now 22 and 20.
So this was the only minor child?
Correct.
And what kind of work were you doing when you separated?
I was working, I'm not certain, ma'am.
Were you ever receiving any sort of public assistance?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
When?
When we separated in 95.
And how long were you receiving welfare?
Till September of 96, I believe. I'm not certain.
Subsequent to 1996, and you say you're not certain, so it could have been longer.
Or shorter.
Or shorter. Subsequent to that, were you ever receiving any sort of public assistance again?
Yes.
When?
I don't recall the date, but I was receiving daycare assistance when I was working.
And how much child support were you paying, Mr. Strand, when you were paying it?
It started out at $200 a month, and through cost of living increases, it had gone up every 2 years. The last time that it got increased, it went up to $404 every month.
Now, were you aware of the fact that your wife at that time and your daughter were receiving welfare?
I was aware of the fact that they were getting daycare assistance, yes.
Well, at some point she was getting welfare, and at some point she was getting daycare assistance, which is also another form of public assistance. And was it at that time that you were paying $200 a month?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you always paying the $200 a month, or was that during the period of time when you were laid off, seasonally?
I always paid it when I was working, and when I would get laid off or when I was in between jobs, I wasn't paying it. But when I did get back to work, I always made a point to either contact the county or my ex-wife or both right away to let them know where I was working so that it could continue to be collected.
You understand, Mr. Strand, that this is your problem. Even if I believe that you had an agreement with your former wife that she would forgive the arrearages, she can't bind the state with regard to the arrearages. And if this $3,800 bill accumulated at a time when your daughter was receiving any sort of assistance, whether it be daycare or regular public assistance, she can't forgive that money.
Your Honor, there was a separate amount that was owed to the state and an amount that was owed to my ex-wife as the custodial parent. The part that was owed to the state has already been taken care of a long time ago.
Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
When was that?
That was taken care of when I filed bankruptcy last October. It was a sum of $1,100, and I was able to put that onto my bankruptcy. So the $3,800...
So the state's never been paid?
No, the state was paid while I was paying child support. So much would go to my ex-wife, and so much would go towards what was owed to the state.
I thought you said that money was discharged in bankruptcy.
Not all of it, just what was owed at the time that I filed my bankruptcy. Yes.
So the state did not get their $1,100. You just tried to discharge in bankruptcy.
Yes.
Why didn't you add this money?
Because you're not allowed in the state of Minnesota to discharge
child support
until it gets turned over to your ex-wife or to collections as a debt owed.
Now, why, Ms. Johnson, do you think that your former husband agreed to terminate his parental rights?
Your Honor, I believe that he looked at her as a dollar sign, and he was never keeping employment nor paying his bills, and he just felt that this was an easy way to get out of his obligation.
Well, you asked him to do that.
I suggested it, yes.
No, you asked him to do that. You approached him. He wouldn't think about that. You approached him. And what did you say when you approached him?
I just said that you are not being a very good father. My husband is willing to adopt our daughter. If you sign over your rights, I will consider it.
Consider what?
That I could sign off if it was...
If it was what?
If I was able to.
If you were able to what?
Sign it off.
Sign what off?
The back child support.
Well, why can't you? If the state's been paid, you can sign off the back child support.
Because I don't choose to.
But you made an agreement to do that, madam.
No, I did not.
Oh, yes, you did. You did. Because I don't believe that under those circumstances he would have gone to your lawyer. By the way, who paid his lawyer?
I don't know, ma'am.
I didn't have a lawyer, Your Honor.
Whose lawyer did you go to?
Mine.
I went to her lawyer to sign.
Oh, so you went to her lawyer?
Yes.
Made an appointment for him to go to see your lawyer?
He made an appointment, yes.
Who you paid?
Yes.
Miss Johnson, I don't believe you. And I have to make a judgment. You want to try to convince me that you didn't make an agreement with him and not give me this answer I choose not to? Come on.
He was just not paying his child support, Your Honor.
So you said to him, I'll forgive your child support if you sign over your parental rights.
No, I did not. I said my husband has an interest in being my daughter's father, and if you would sign off, he says, could we then forgive that child support? And I said, we'll talk about it. But
no, I don't believe that. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
You want to know something? You're a scammer. I don't know how you got Social Security disability. At age 47, I know people who were 67 with asthma, they work. You must have had a really, really fine lawyer.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rick Strand claims ex-wife Marilyn Johnson owes for back child support that she agreed to forgive. Rick says the state is coming after him for the money.
So, the two of you signed an agreement when you came here. It was a binding arbitration, is that correct?
Yes.
I will draft an order to the state. What state?
State of Minnesota.
That I have determined after a hearing that you agreed to vacate any child support arrears that were owing to you in exchange for his agreement to terminate his parental rights and allow your husband to adopt the child. That is my finding. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Sir, wait here. Sir.
He was just looking at our daughter as a dollar sign.
That upsets me greatly.
And he was trying to get out of his obligation of being a father.
I've always been a good father.
It's another one of his lies.
Well, I've already signed off on my parental rights.
Just leave us alone.
But I would hope that someday she'd want to talk to me and interact with me.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Alvarez versus Burgos. Step forward.
Store owner Daniel Alvarez is suing his customer, Carmen Burgos, for cashing a counterfeit check at his store. Carmen says she was the victim of an internet scam.
Mr. Alvarez, what kind of store do you have, sir?
I have a general store. We sell music, we cash checks, we sell satellite. It's a little bit of everything.
The defendant was a customer of yours?
A regular customer. She had been there at least 4 or 5 occasions cashing checks.
And you charge a fee for that?
Yes, we do.
According to your complaint, sir, she came in with a check, which you cashed for her.
Correct.
And it turned out to be a bad check.
Yes.
And your bank withdrew the money from your account. You want her to compensate you for the check.
That is correct.
Ms. Burgos says it was a bad check. She was conned with this check, and she's sorry that you're out the money, but it's not her fault. It's the fault of the people who scammed her. That's her defense. Is that correct,
Yes,
Ms.
Your
Burgos?
Honor. I shouldn't
So
be
I want
held
you to
liable
tell
for it.
What?
I shouldn't be held liable for it because I had
Ms.
the
Burgos.
evidence. Yes.
Let's start from the beginning. Where did you get this check from?
It was mailed to me.
From an employer?
No, I'm always on the computer and I'm always filling out sweepstakes and filling out numbers for lotto and that. So when I received the check...
So you received the check because you thought you won a prize?
Yes, correct.
But she didn't tell me that, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Don't interrupt her.
I'm sorry.
Your Honor, he wasn't there at the moment.
Listen to me.
Yes.
You got a check in the mail and you didn't know where it came from.
Correct. Yes, I thought
So
it was
you thought
a
maybe
sweepstake.
you won a prize that you had played around with on the computer?
Yes, correct.
You have a copy of the letter?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Well, I have a copy because I gave Mr. Alvarez the original and the envelope dedicated.
Shh. Mr. Alvarez, I don't want you to interrupt her.
That's the original.
That is the original.
Cool.
And I also gave him the envelope it came in.
Now, this letter says that you won the North American Ballot Sweepstakes.
Correct.
And it tells you to call Debbie Baum in Canada.
Yes, Your Honor, and that's who I called.
Just for my own information, when you called her, what is it that you claim she said to you?
Well, I called her because at first I'm like, well...
Joe, tell me. Just answer my question.
I asked her about that I had received a check for a sweepstake for the sum of $2,900. And she told me yes, and I told her what it says here for processing. She goes, oh, no, that's no problem. You could go ahead and change. That's part of what you have won. There's 72 people that are in
I
with
read the
it
letter.
too.
There's 72 people that are going to share in $1.8 million.
Right, and that's just the beginning of it, so you could
Fine.
go ahead and cash it.
Cash
So
it.
that's right.
Fine.
I went to
You have
Mr.
a copy of the check?
Yes, I have
I'd
the
like
original.
to see it. Oh, you have the original?
Yes.
Love
the bank
to see
returned it to me.
Love to see it. Shh. So you took the check into him?
Yes, correct.
To cash?
Yes. Like I've taken other checks.
State Employees Credit Union of Maryland, Inc. Well, I have to tell you, this certainly looks like, to my untrained eye, an official kind of check.
Correct. That's why I went to him and I cashed it.
Ms. Burgos, I got it. You thought you woke up and it was your lucky day?
Yes, correct.
Bird, take a look at this. An interesting looking check? Right?
Wow. It even says official check.
It even says
Correct.
official
That's
check.
why I never-
And, just a minute, and they don't even ask you to do anything, like
Correct.
send them
That's
back
why-
half. in this letter.
That's why I was like...
I'm speaking. Don't bother me. They don't even ask you to send back half. You know, sometimes say, send us $500 as a processing fee, and they just say, here's your $2,900.
Does it the back?
Yeah. She signed it, and it came back that it was suspected counterfeit. In any event, you gave her the money.
Yes, I did.
You have proof of that?
Just from the bank when they took the money out because...
I'd like to see it. Now, when you were notified by the bank,
Right.
yeah, they charged your account for $2,950.
Correct.
Okay. Now, when did you cash the check for her? On what date?
Around the 14th of November.
And the bank returned the check to you when?
They didn't return it until the 20th or 21st, but they notified me 2 days later. First
So
they
on the
notified me.
16th?
Correct.
And when did you
I'm sorry, Your Honor,
notify?
it was after that.
Stop talking out. This is not a tea party. Now, when did you notify Miss Burgos?
That same day.
On the 16th,
Exactly.
2 days later.
Exactly.
How did you notify her?
I called her son-in-law because I know her son-in-law very well, and I called him up and I asked him to bring her over.
And when did he bring her over?
That same day.
On the 16th?
Exactly.
Okay, now tell me on the 16th what you said to her and what she
I
said.
told her, Miss Burgos, this check has returned counterfeit from the bank.
And she said to you?
I didn't know, and she produced this letter.
Good.
Correct. I said I didn't know.
So why didn't you return the money to him?
At the moment, I didn't have the money. I had paid some of debts that I had.
Just a second. What difference does that make to him? Put your hand down. First of all, it's 2 days later.
It's not 2 days later, Your Honor. It was more than 2 days
How
later.
many days?
It was about 4 or 5 days later.
4 days later.
Correct.
Show me what debts you paid.
Well, I had some medical bills that I had to pay, so I went.
Just a second. So you paid your medical bills. Medical bills. What else? What else did you pay?
My electric bill, my phone bill, all my bills, and I
Now,
had
let me
a
ask
few
you this question, Ms. Burgos. Before you came into this cash windfall, how did you pay your electric bill?
Well, I would pay it monthly.
From what?
From what I receive and also.
What do you
my
mean from what you
children's-
receive? I don't understand that statement. Do you
Well,
work?
I get a Social Security check every month.
For what?
For a disability.
What's the nature of your disability?
For asthma, arthritis.
You have asthma and arthritis and you can't work?
No.
I know a lot of people who have asthma and arthritis who can work just fine.
I had problems. I was diagnosed with disability. So
Wait, just a second. When were you diagnosed with a disability from asthma and arthritis?
2 years ago.
Ms. Burgos, I'm believing less and less of what you tell me, madam, but I will tell you this. If you paid your bills, which you are responsible for paying, your medical bills, your electric bill, your phone bill, and I don't care what other kind of bills you paid, allegedly, and I know
And
you're
also I
lying.
bought
Listen
a
to me,
few-
and I know you're lying anyway.
No, I bought
Listen
a few
to me.
Christmas
Listen to me
presents,
very
yes.
carefully, and I know you're lying anyway. Then you have to pay him back the money.
Correct.
You paid your bills. You paid your bills. You're a scammer.
She told me
Let me
right-
ask you this question. Who do you live with?
I live with my son and my daughter.
How old are they?
My daughter's 22 and my son is 19.
And what does your daughter do for a living?
She works. And my son
your
also.
son?
He works.
Works.
They're the ones that help me with all the bills.
Because you don't work?
Yes.
Because of your asthma?
Yes.
She didn't tell me that. That day when she came in, she told me that she had only spent about $500 to $700
No, I told you that's
of
what
the
I
money.
had.
Miss Burgos,
I had $500
Miss
to
Burgos.
$700.
I asked her specifically.
That's what I
I'm
told
so-
him I had.
Did you give it to him?
No,
Just
because he told me.
Shh. So why did you spend that money instead of giving it back to him?
Well, I didn't have it on me at that time.
Why didn't you go home and get it?
The gentleman told me, Mr. Alvarez told me that he was going to send that letter, the letter from that they had
That is
received
not
to
true.
the bank. Yes, it is, Mr. Alvarez.
Just
that
a second.
he was going to
So
take
what?
that
If
letter
there's a
to
question,
the
listen
bank.
to me. If there's a question, why didn't you say, listen, if there's a question and if this check was bad, I don't want Mr. Alvarez to be out the rest of this money. I'm going to hold what I haven't spent and give it to him if he's out of pocket.
Well, I had held it. I had it.
So
and
why
when-
didn't you give it to him?
Because when I spoke to Mr. Alvarez on the phone, I told him I have the $500. He says, no, I want all the money. That's what he said.
That is
and I
true.
says, well, I don't have all the money at the moment, okay? I could give you at least $500 at a time. He said, no, I want all the money at the same
You want to know
time.
something? You're a scammer.
It was-
You've been scamming
no.
Social Security in all probability for the
No, I
last 2
haven't.
years.
I
I don't know
haven't.
how you got Social Security disability. How old are you?
I'm 47.
47. I know people who are 67 with asthma, they work.
No, I am disabled.
You must have had a really, really fine lawyer. You owe him $2,950, Miss Burgos. You were a scammer, and you knew you did the wrong thing as soon as he told you that check came back.
Yes.
People very rarely get windfalls of money from the internet. Very rarely. Don't look like this to me.
I'm not a scammer because
I don't know how I got Social Security disability. I don't know where I got this check from. I don't know. Well, now you know that this man who was doing you a favor cashed your check and got penalized because of your stupidity. He got penalized, but you said, listen, I got the money. Let him go after the people. Let him go after. I'm speaking.
No, I didn't.
Let him go after the people.
I did not think that way.
Well, then you should have returned the money that you hadn't spent.
Okay, he didn't want the money that I had not spent.
So you spent the rest. Just a second. Hey,
I still have the $500.
You're supposed to set an example, Miss Burgos, for your children. You're not supposed to be a scammer.
I'm not a scammer.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And you believed in getting something for nothing.
No,
and you put him in a very precarious position. You've got a lot of nerve.
I've never.
You've got a lot of nerve. Your children should not. Your children are not going to be proud of you after today. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,950. That's all. Step out.
Yeah, this is case number 458 on the calendar in the matter of Bell versus Carper. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Oops.
How are you related to her?
I'm not related to her. I'm the witness's mother.
Which witness?
Right.
Jesse.
I don't know.
You don't know she's your mother?
No, I do, but I mean, I don't know how this all came about.
I do.
We're going to find out.
Yeah, you are. Thank you. Thank you.
Miss Bell.
Yes.
How old are you?
22.
You work?
Yes.
For whom?
My father.
Doing what?
I'm a receptionist of his company. I've been working there for about 5 years.
Is it a successful company?
Yes.
How many children are there in your family?
I have one brother and one sister.
Is your sister younger or older?
She's older. She's 32.
So you're the baby daughter?
Yes.
Pretty one.
Thank you.
According to what I read, you used to be involved romantically with him.
Mm-hmm.
The one who's going to sit up and uncross his arms.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And he was a friend of this one.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So you became a friend of this one.
Well, I was friends with him before Jesse and I actually got into a relationship.
And I gather that your father must have been thrilled with your choice of boyfriends.
Absolutely not.
Now, I could tell that before I even sat down, because these two charmers ended up in jail.
Correct.
For whatever. We'll figure it out. And it is your claim that you loaned Mr. Carper money to pay off his criminal fines.
Correct.
Mr. Carper says that you did pay off his criminal fines, and you did so as a gift because you were a friend of his. He says you were more than a friend of his, that you had a romantic relationship.
We were never boyfriend and girlfriend.
Listen, he didn't say boyfriend and girlfriend, he just says you were intimate with both of them.
No.
And all I can say is yuck. Can you imagine a father who has a company that has enough money to employ a receptionist? And this is the boyfriend and this is the friend that she goes to visit both of them in jail? How many times did you go to visit them in jail?
I never visited them in jail.
Oh, good. At least, thank God for that. What were you in jail for, Mr. Carper?
Personal reasons, ma'am.
Personal reasons is not a criminal offense.
Quiet! I made stupid decisions, Your Honor.
Mr. Carper, when I ask a question, I expect an answer.
Yes, ma'am.
What were you in jail for?
Possession.
Possession of?
Schedule II substance.
What kind of substance?
Pills.
Was it the first time you were arrested?
No, ma'am.
And the last time you were arrested was when, sir?
Before I got incarcerated.
When were you incarcerated?
It's March of 2002.
And how long were you in prison?
30 months.
What prison?
Coffeewood and Camp 7.
Are you still on parole status?
Yes, ma'am.
Until when?
It's indefinite.
You're on indefinite parole?
Yes, ma'am.
Fabulous. Now your friend, what's his name?
Jesse Goff.
Jesse. How long have you and Jesse been friends?
Since I was 5 years old, ma'am.
And what was he in prison for?
Assault.
Assault?
Yes, ma'am.
How long had Jesse and Miss Bell been friends?
They had known each other for a long time. I never met her. She said I knew her before they started dating. I never met this girl until I came home. I didn't know who she was. So that's a lie right there.
How long did you think they were involved? When he was in prison with you, right?
We were in a county jail together.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
When were you in the county jail together?
2003.
Did he know her then? Were they involved then?
I take it. No, they weren't involved.
No, we were
When
not.
did you first hook up with Jesse?
I started talking to Jesse actually back in high school, about 9th grade.
When did you start to see him romantically?
I want to say July.
And he's just out of jail?
Yes.
You're his mother?
I am.
Sometimes you bake a souffle and it falls. Happens. Tell me about the loan.
I loaned him $4,589 on September 29th to pay off his charges, which I have receipts of.
Well, tell me how it came about that you laid out that money.
Well, I saw him apply after job after job after job, and he kept getting turned down because he didn't have his license. And
what do you mean you saw him?
Well, I would take him and Mr. Goff to apply at jobs. And
why would you do that?
I was trying to help them out by taking them to fill out job applications so they could get a job, and I didn't want them to get locked back up. And I asked Mr. Carper if I were to pay off his fines, he could get his license and get a job, and if him and Jesse were willing to be my roommates, because I'm going through separations, so I...
Separation from?
My husband.
You have any children?
I have a 3-year-old daughter.
So you wanted to take your 3-year-old daughter and be their roommate?
Yes.
Who do you live with now?
Now I live with my parents. I'm currently trying to sell.
Stay there, because your judgment is impaired, big time.
Recently it has been, I do agree.
If you are a 22-year-old woman and your judgment is impaired and all you're doing is hurting yourself, that's one thing. But to take your 3-year-old child and on purpose move in out of your parents' home into an apartment with 2 convicted felons who are on parole, one for drugs, and I'm not so sure about him now, is the kind of lapse judgment that your parents aren't going to tolerate.
It's actually a house that I own, and my husband, my ex, moved out and I could not afford the mortgage. And I actually lived there, and it was either I find some roommates or I try to
I don't
sell
care
the
if you
home.
have to live in a shelter. You don't take a 3-year-old child and put a 3-year-old child in a circumstance where you have 2 convicted felons, one of whom was there for pills.
I agree.
Got it?
It was also cocaine.
So you paid off his fines?
Yes.
And how was he supposed to pay you back?
He was going to pay me monthly because I actually charged it on a credit card, and he agreed to pay me monthly. At first, a little bit over the minimum payment, and then, you know, he was going to pay me a lot more.
What were the fines for? Can I see the piece of paper that you have? You think that's a real diamond in his ear?
It definitely is.
I doubt it.
Is that a real diamond in your ear?
Of course, ma'am. I don't wear fake things.
What?
I said I don't wear fake things. Just
Could I
is.
see it, please?
You
Yeah,
said
take it out.
Wow.
Thank you. Felony fee, fines, $1,000. Felony fee, $350. Jail admission fee, $25. And court-appointed attorney, $437. Love it. Commonwealth of Virginia. Good for Virginia. And what would happen to you, Mr. Carper, if you didn't pay these fines?
They would probably violate my parole.
And then what would happen to you?
Then I would not see the light of day forever.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Payment of the fine is what?
Punishment.
Right. And if you let somebody else pay your fines, you're allowing somebody else to do your...
Punishment, man.
Is he a quick learner or what?
It's quick.
And later today,
This guy is no good. No bargain, no good, no way.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Chastity Bell claims her ex-boyfriend's friend, Anthony Carper, owes for a loan to pay court fines.
What do you think fines are for, sir?
To be paid, ma'am.
Because they're part of your what?
Probation.
Part of your what? Punishment.
Yes, ma'am.
And if somebody else pays your fine, then you have no...
Punishment.
Right! Why do you think a court would allow that to happen?
Because it's the law, ma'am.
What's the law? Why do you think a court would allow somebody else to do your punishment? Let me ask you this, sir. We've already established that payment of the fine is what?
Punishment.
Right. And you're going to jail was a form of?
Punishment, ma'am.
Now, you couldn't say to somebody else, listen, I want you to do me a favor. I don't feel like going to jail. I'm going to go out and sell a whole bunch of pills and maybe a little cocaine, so I'm going to have a couple of bucks, you know. I'm going to give you $10,000 to do my 30 months. You think that the state would permit that to happen?
No, ma'am.
What would the person say to you now? I don't mind going to jail. I have nothing else to do. I could really use the $10,000. I'll go to jail for you for the 30 months. You think the state would permit that?
No, ma'am.
Because then you wouldn't be doing your own
Punishment.
And if you let somebody else pay your fines, you're allowing somebody else to do your
Punishment, ma'am.
Is he a quick learner or what? So the first thing you have to do in order to do your punishment is sell your diamonds. That's what the first thing that people do is sell their diamonds, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then they pay the rest of their debt, $4,500. Maybe you can get $89 for this taupe diamond. When did you give him up as a boyfriend?
We weren't really actually together because he's not capable of just having one girlfriend. We were supposedly together for probably about maybe a month.
You are an articulate, nice-looking girl who clearly has very low self-esteem. Because if you didn't have low self-esteem, you wouldn't have been involved with either one of them.
Correct.
You have parents who have a business, you have a child, you've made some bad judgments, but you're only 22 years old. You have the capacity to change. You have anything you want to add to what I've already said?
I do.
I mean, I'm just dying to hear why you would come be her witness if your son is sitting over there.
Because what's wrong is wrong, and you're absolutely right. He's skating his punishment.
You have anything new to add?
I think it's a fine how you do to thank somebody for doing all that she did for you.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. By the way, did she also pay your son's fines?
Yes, she did.
Did he pay her back?
No, we actually go to court for that on March 7th in Prince William County.
Should we just hang out here?
Just a second. Just a second. So
Oh.
why don't you do this? You're his mother, right?
I am.
You made him. You raised him. Why don't you pay his fines?
Because he's 24 years old and I'm not responsible for him anymore.
Right, yeah, I know, but you're more responsible than a stranger. Maybe you should just let
I
him
would
go
not
back
have
to
paid
jail.
his fines in the first place.
You would let him go back to jail?
I would.
You're absolutely right. Sit down. In any event, she paid $4,589 in order to keep you free. I'm entering a judgment for $4,500 and his diamond. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It is what it is, man. She was messing with him. Me and her had a little thing going on.
I made a mistake by trying to help both of them out, and it blew up in my face.
If me and her would have stayed talking, this would have never came about.
Doesn't matter if he's seeing her or not, the money is still owed.
Money is nothing to me. I'll take care of it.
Picking up the phone the day Jesse called me was one of the biggest mistakes I made.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Murray versus Easton, step forward, please.
23-year-old Lisa Murray is suing her ex-boyfriend, 21-year-old Ish Easton, for the cost of a plane ticket to New Jersey. Ish claims Lisa is being vindictive.
Miss Murray, Mr. Easton and you dated briefly, according to your complaint, and you believe he owes you for an airline ticket that you purchased for him in order that the two of you go home to meet the parents. And then you broke up. For the trip, Mr. Easton says that the going home to meet the parents was strictly your idea. He never asked you to buy the ticket. You bought it on your own, so you pay for it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When did you meet him?
February 2006. We were working together.
And when did you start dating?
We started dating in the beginning of June 2006.
And when did you want to go and introduce him to your family?
Through the month of June or in the beginning of July 2006, our relationship became
No.
serious.
You're talking so fast I can hardly understand you. I asked you a simple question. When did you want to take him home to meet your parents?
July 2006.
After 4 weeks? Why?
Well, I had missed my family very much, and he also said that he would like to go. He was excited about going to see New York City and seeing New Jersey.
If he was so excited, why didn't he buy his own ticket?
He currently did not have the money at the time, nor did he have a credit card.
What was the arrangement that you made with him?
That when we came back from our trip, that he would be reimbursing me.
And when did you break up?
September 7th, 2006.
And when were you supposed to go to New York?
September 9th, 2006.
I'll hear you.
After she had initially brought the idea to go visit her parents, I told her then, I was like, well, I don't have money.
No, look at me.
Oh, I told her then, I don't have money to pay you back for any kind of ticket before we even discussed repaying anything.
Why would you say that to her? I thought you met at work.
This is after we started dating, man.
No, listen to me. You're not listening. You don't have your listening ears on. You said, I don't have any money. And she just told me that you met at work in February of 2006. What kind of work were you doing?
I, at the time, was working at Home Depot, man.
And in July, where were you working?
I worked for a structural engineering firm.
And in August?
Still work there, man.
Okay, so you were working, you were employed.
Yes.
Do you have children?
No, before dating Miss Murray, I was in a previous relationship. Separating from that relationship, I had to move back home. But upon moving back home, my parents were like, well, you got to help pay bills and stuff like that. So I pay half of everything.
So?
Leaving pretty much nothing.
Well, that's not true. You have money to eat out, right?
On occasion, ma'am. And that was money that I was like, Mom, you know, can I borrow $50 to go out or...
Mr. Easton, when you discussed with Miss Murray going to New York, I don't believe that you said to her, I don't have the money to pay you now, and I'll never have the money to pay you back. Because I don't think that under those circumstances she would have continued to see you, because that would have sounded like something a bum would say. I don't have money now, maybe. I'll never have money to pay you back. I wouldn't have taken you to meet my parents. I would have been humiliated to take you. You're a bum if you say, I'll never have any money to buy an airline ticket for $295. So I don't believe that you said that to her. I believe that you probably said to her, I don't have money to pay for it now. That I believe. Now, when did she buy the ticket?
She called me and was like, I bought tickets to go to New Jersey.
No, you had already discussed it. So don't say it came as a surprise to you. It didn't come as a surprise.
I don't know the exact date of her
When did you
buying
purchase the tickets?
July 25th, I purchased the tickets. I have phone calls.
Shh. And she told you that she purchased them in July?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And you were working in Home Depot?
I was working at Home Depot and the engineering firm at the same time.
So two places?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do with the ticket? I was unable to refund it because he broke up with me within 24 hours prior to canceling it.
You have the bill?
Yes.
Why did you break up right before you were ready to leave for New York, sir?
Well, there was a span of like 2 weeks where her and I barely ever saw each other. And that was because my work schedule at the engineering firm went from a regular 8-hour day to 9 to 12-hour days. And I didn't have time to see her. It was work, home, work, bed, pretty much.
Okay.
A gentleman that I play football with, his girlfriend and Miss Murray became very good friends, hanging out, had informed me that the plaintiff had gone to MySpace and read a quote that I'd written on MySpace. And that was one of the first issues. One of the other issues was
Did you say something not nice about her?
I didn't say anything toward her at all. The quote that I left on my page said, due to the pain caused by love, to love I say. And that was nothing toward her previous relationship exactly to that. Then it went from that to she had been saying, oh, I don't have money, I don't have money, I don't have money. Well, then my friend's girlfriend is like, oh, we went shopping today. And Lisa bought this, and Lisa bought that, and Lisa bought this.
What does it make any difference to you whether she said I don't have money?
Well, because if you're going to tell me you don't have money, then how are you going to turn around and go shopping?
She wasn't asking for money from you, was she?
Initially broke up with her because she lies. You can't trust a liar. You can trust a thief because you know they're going to steal. You can trust a killer, you know they're going to kill, but you can't trust a liar. I asked her, I said, well, did you go on my MySpace page and read that? She said no. And before that, I said, is there anything you want to tell me about that you haven't said to me in the past? No, there's nothing I can think of.
You're going to get your $295 back for the ticket. Before you leave, you should get down on the floor, on all fours, kiss the ground, and say, God, thank you for terminating this relationship, because this guy is no good. I don't know if you're good, but I can tell you right now, he's a bum. He's always going to be a bum, because he makes excuses for what he does that bear no resemblance to reality. That's what he just did. He just gave me a whole cock and bull story. In reality, he probably found somebody else to cover some of his bills. Because when someone is so smitten with a woman, they don't not see them for 2 weeks. They may give up sleeping, but they won't go work, job, work, school, work, and not see the person for whom they have lost their heart. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So he made up a whole big story. Nothing in his story was true. So you're a very lucky girl that you got rid of him, because for somebody who doesn't like lying, he has become very proficient at it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $295. That's all.
Yeah, this is case number 520 on the calendar in the matter of Fennell versus Young.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, huh?
Ms. Fennell, you and Mr. Young had a relationship and you have 2 children.
Yes, Your Honor.
According to your complaint, the 2 of you separated sometime in 2004.
Yes, Your Honor.
At that time, there were 2 vehicles in your household.
Yes, ma'am.
You kept one, and according to you, continued to make the payments on it, made
Yes,
all the
ma'am.
payments on it, and Mr. Young kept one. It is your claim that Mr. Young took your vehicle without your permission 2 years later.
Yes, ma'am.
And in the vehicle was some personal property of yours.
Yes.
You managed to get the vehicle back with the help of the authorities. The property was missing. You want the value of the property or the property. Mr. Young says that when you separated in 2004, he allowed you to borrow his truck because you needed a vehicle. He expected you to return it to him at some point when you were able to afford to get your own vehicle. You didn't do that, but instead, according to Mr. Young, sometime in 2005, you left your home, or the jurisdiction where you were living, without notifying him in advance, and took the children and the truck to a different state. He was able to locate you, he retrieved his truck, and he is counterclaiming because he says that when you took the truck back, you did so against his wishes, that the truck actually belongs to him and he wants it back.
Correct.
Okay. When in 2004 did you separate, Ms. Fennell?
January, Your Honor.
And it was an amicable separation?
No, ma'am.
Did you leave him or did he leave you?
I left him, Your Honor.
And where were you living at the time? In what state?
Missouri.
And you maintained a home together with the defendant in Missouri?
Yes, Your Honor.
For how long?
2 years, approximately.
How old were you?
3 years.
We actually purchased a house back in 2001.
Just a second. You purchased a house together in 2001?
No, ma'am.
I purchased a house in my name solely, and in 2001.
And you lived there with him?
Yes, ma'am.
So you lived there with him for 3 years?
Yes.
Now, you left him, and when you left him, you took one of the trucks. Now, in whose name was the truck that you took?
Both of ours.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And you left him a truck when you left?
No, I loaned her the truck, okay?
You had what?
I had the car.
You had the car. What kind of car did you have?
It was a 95 Ford Aspire.
Now, when you left in 2004, you remained in Missouri until when?
February of 2005, Your Honor.
And where did you go in February of 2005?
Kansas.
Who lives in Kansas?
My fiance.
Between January of 2004 and February of 2005, Mr. Young, did you see your children?
Yes, I did. I seen them all the way up until April.
April of?
2004, or
2005.
2005.
Well, if she moved in February of 2005, where did you see them in April? In Kansas?
Actually, she met me 3 times, I do believe, with my kids when I'd get off work. And I'd actually pick them up and take them to my place after that.
So you did see them in April of 2005 after she moved to Kansas?
Actually, yes, I did.
Just answer the question.
Yes, I did.
I'm trying to get a timeline from you, sir. I read your answer. I'm trying to figure out what happened. So, when she moved, you continued to see the children?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
So you knew she was moving? Answer. Don't think about what you wrote.
No.
Don't think about how it's going to look. Just answer, Mr. Young, the questions, because if you give me a dishonest answer, I guarantee you it's going to be a very sorry afternoon for you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand that.
So, if you saw the children up until April of 2005, then you knew she was moving.
Actually, I did not. I did not.
I don't want you to speak until I ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I understand, Your Honor.
Perfect. Go ahead.
I actually did not know that she moved because, like I said, she would meet me right around the surroundings of where I worked.
You mean between January of 2004 when she left, when you separated, and April of 2000, listen to my question,
Okay.
Don't get the wheels moving. Between January of 2004 when she left and April of 2005, the routine was you would meet at some central location and exchange the children.
Correct.
So you didn't know that she moved to Kansas because she brought the children to the same location all the time?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Don't say yes unless it's true.
Yes.
When did you find out that she moved to Kansas?
In the end of April.
How did you find out?
I would call her cell phone to get my kids, and she answered one day and said that I wasn't going to see the kids no more.
Really?
Really.
Why did you say that, Miss Fennell?
I didn't, Your Honor.
What did you say? If he was seeing the children from January of 2004 until April of 2005, and I believe him. Something happened in April of 2005.
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you tell me what it was?
He was seeing the children sporadically, once every 2 or 3 months, and I actually called him in April.
No, don't speak now.
And, at Easter, before Easter, and asked him if he would like to see the children. At that time, he told me no. My fiance and I went and bought the children Easter baskets, and when Mr. Young called me the day before Easter and told me that, yes, he did want to have the kids, and I said, okay, that's fine. And he did. And then, as usual, I called him the next weekend, and the next weekend, and the next weekend, and asked him if he would be using his visitation, and he would tell me, no, he was working, and he didn't have time.
Don't put your hand up.
Then in June, on Father's Day, I called Mr. Young once again and asked him if he would like to have his children on Father's Day. And he made the comment to me, well, it's Father's Day, isn't that my day off? And I said, look.
So are you telling me between April, Easter, when he had the children for the day?
Yes, ma'am.
And Father's Day?
No contact, Your Honor.
He did not call the children?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Did you call your children between April, Easter, when you had the children, because I believe her, that she gave you the children on Easter, and Father's Day, did you contact your children?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Tell me how.
I tried to contact her through a cell phone.
What do you mean you tried?
I would call her, and she either wouldn't answer my call, and eventually she'd shut her phone off completely.
I'm talking about between April and June.
No, I never did get to see my kids in that time because she was holding them from me.
Did you go to court, sir, between April and June, like May 1st, for visitation?
We actually had a court order on visitations of the kids March 1st of 04 until March 1st of 05. It was just a one-year visitation deal.
I never heard of a one-year visitation deal.
It only lasted 1 year because it was the result of an abuse stalking order that I had against Mr. Young.
I see. So there was an order of visitation that was made part of a protective order.
Yes, ma'am.
But there was no formal order of visitation other than that which was contained
That's
in the
correct,
protective order, which expired in March.
That's correct, Your Honor.
So I'm coming back to you, Mr. Young. When you didn't see your children in May, and according to you, you couldn't reach their mother, did you go to court to seek visitation with your children?
No, I could not.
Why not?
Because I couldn't afford an attorney.
You don't need an attorney to go to court, Mr. Young. You go to your local family court and you tell the clerk, I want to file an order of visitation for my children. Question is, did you go to court? The answer is no.
No.
If the father is interested in seeing their children regularly, they go to court. That's what they do.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Put your hand down, Miss Fiancée. You have nothing to say.
I'm his wife, Your Honor.
Put your hand down, Miss Wife. You have nothing to say.
Tricia Fennell claims the father of her children, Chad Young, refuses to sign over a Dodge Ram truck. Chad is countersuing for the return of the truck.
Is this your fiancée wife?
Yes, this.
What is it?
It's my wife.
Your wife? When were you married?
July 29th of this year.
Did you buy her an engagement ring?
What's that?
Did you buy her an engagement ring?
Yes, I did.
How much you spent for it?
Like $300.
Have you been to court since, sir,
No.
to file for visitation with your children?
No.
Well, before I'd buy an engagement ring, Mr. Young, if you need the advice of a lawyer, I would spend $300 an hour for a lawyer and get some advice to file for visitation for my children. Mr.
See,
Young.
I have
Mr. Young, that's what I would do.
Everybody I've talked to has told me that I had to hire an attorney to have anything else done.
Who told you that? The butcher?
Child support?
No, let me ask you. The butcher?
No.
Courts cannot, sir, require you to have an attorney in order to see your children. It might be easier for you, but it would certainly be worth an hour of a lawyer's time.
Oh, I totally agree with you.
Good, so I would have saved the $300 on an engagement ring and gone to see a lawyer if I didn't see my children. So my sympathy for you was getting to be this much, where it was this much when I read your answer. You understand me?
Yes.
When I read your answer, it appeared as if she removed the children. You didn't see the children after that, but that's not true. You did see the children. She moved in February. You saw the children in February and March and April. She continued to bring them to a location so that you could see them, take them for visitation, until your life got a little busy. How much child support have you paid for your children in the last 2 years? Is not an answer.
I have not paid in the last year for some
in the
reason.
last
I don't know.
year.
Usually it comes out of my check, and they quit taking it out of my check.
Well, just a second. What? Shut up! What'd you think the children were eating from the last year?
What do you mean?
I don't know. So my sympathy for you is that much. Now, at some point, sir, you took this truck back that was in joint names.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because she posted a deal on the internet saying that she was, I guess she had a chance to forge my signature on the title.
You didn't need the truck. You'd been without it for well over a year. It was in joint names. You had a car, she had a truck. You'd lived together for a long time. So, what's the big deal?
Because I've paid almost everything on that truck.
Well, show me. Show me that you've paid almost everything on the truck. Let me see. And at the same time, Ms. Fennell, I'd like you to show me that you paid whatever you paid on the truck.
Your Honor, this is a statement from the bank saying that the loan was in solely my name. These are the payments that I made. This is my payoff date there at the bottom. This is saying that I paid the taxes on the vehicle.
I don't care taxes. Don't tell me taxes. Not interested in taxes.
I have a receipt from the bank here for my final payment.
Well, just a second. How did you pay them?
I went to the bank and asked them if I could get that proof, and they said because it had been so long that they could do that, but they would have to charge me $30 per hour for their manpower in it. And this is also the payment book, Your Honor, that I have to take to the bank and get initialed every payment that was made.
Just a second. Take this back, because I have absolutely no interest in this piece of whatever it is, because it's not evidence. It's nonsense.
You got anything?
The only thing that I have is I ain't got no proof of how the truck got paid.
You don't have any proof.
No, all I got is...
Look at me. You don't have any proof.
I mean, besides my pay, how much I was making back then.
I don't care what you were making back then.
Because I asked the bank the same thing also, and that's what they told me.
Okay. Mr. Young, now I have a document that indicates that these payments were made starting in January of '04 through February of '05. Now, I would like you to show me proof that you made payments, sir.
Like I said, I couldn't get the documents from my bank because they couldn't go back that far. Because I tried getting a printout of like my whole checking account back then, and they don't have that on.
This looks as if after she took the truck, she made the payments.
Right. That was.
Listen to me. After she took the truck, she made the payments. Put your hand down, Miss Fiancée. You have nothing to say.
I'm his wife, Your Honor.
Put your hand down, Miss Wife. You have nothing to say.
I also have evidence that Mr. Young signed his name off of the title of my truck and a notarized gift affidavit from Mr. Young that he did at the bank, Your Honor.
Let me see the notarized. I just want to see the notarized document from him.
Your Honor, that's...
This was made while...
That is a false document.
So you're accusing the notary here of a felony. Is that right, Mr. Young?
Yes, I am.
Just listen to me.
Yes, I am.
Just a minute. I just want to make sure, because I want to tell you something. By saying that, Mr. Young, if what you're saying is not true, and you are accusing in front of 10 million people, put down your papers! And you are accusing the notary public who put her commission seal on this document of committing a felony, I want to tell you that you are exposing yourself to substantial liability. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
And understanding that is what you're telling me, that the person who subscribed their seal to this document, which purportedly took your signature on a gift affidavit, committed perjury. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Young?
I've got the actual...
That would be a big
Yes, I've
mistake.
actually been talking to an attorney from...
Just a second. You've actually been talking to an attorney about what, sir? No.
About this forgery.
You've actually...
Yes.
Just a second. Where did you get an attorney to talk to about the forgery? On a 10-year-old truck, you've been talking to a lawyer about the forgery?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep.
Did you have to pay the lawyer?
No.
No. When you happen to have been there talking to the lawyer about your truck and the forgery, did you happen to ask the lawyer about visitation with your children?
Yes, I sure did.
Really? I finally got there. Now, the reason you went to see the lawyer, and by the way, when did you go to see the lawyer?
It was about 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. And when was the last time you saw your children?
About 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So let's see what happened. You bought your wife an engagement ring, and she looks like she's well cared for. And you didn't get to see a lawyer until 3 weeks ago, Mr. Young.
No, I've actually spoke to many lawyers when she did leave.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Well, that's a revelation, sir. You didn't tell me that before. Tell me when you spoke to a lawyer the first time about visitation.
The first time that she told me that she didn't want the kids in my life no more.
And when was that?
It was right after April in 2005. And
That's so interesting, Mr. Young. You told me that people told you that you needed a lawyer to go to court. Why didn't you go to court?
Because nobody told me any different. They always said that, or they all told me that I needed to go hire an attorney because there had been a paternity action done.
Okay, I got the drift of who everybody is. I got it. All comes together. Now, what items do you allege were in the truck when he took the truck? Because he went and took the truck and you ultimately got it
He's
back.
actually returned all of my items with the exception of one child's Game Boy.
One child's Game Boy? So what do you want? What do you want?
Actually, those were put in the paperwork before I maintained possession of the truck and my property again. So that's...
Okay, so you're withdrawing your claim?
Yes, ma'am.
You're
For the
withdrawing your
possessions.
claim?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. So now all we have is a counterclaim.
Right.
All we have is a counterclaim. What do you want, sir?
I want her to sign her name off the title.
That's not going to happen because she paid for it. So she's not signing her name off the title. So you and your wife are just going to have to get along with your car.
Did she pay $16,000 for that truck?
I want to tell you something. You came here for judgment, and my judgment is that the affidavit of gift that she has signed and notarized is an affidavit that I'm prepared to accept, and that you made a gift to her of this truck, and that subsequent to your separation, she made the payments on it, and she brought the children to visit you with the children in your truck, and but for the fact that maybe you're being prodded by Miss Wife over here, we wouldn't be here today on your counterclaim. You get me? Do you get me?
Yes, ma'am.
Your counterclaim is dismissed. I would suggest that if you want to see your children, you pursue that with an attorney as viciously as you pursued getting back this 10-year-old truck. Anybody can be a father, sir, because it's very easy to make a baby. Put your hand down. What do you want him to do, sign that?
I would like him to sign the title.
Absolutely. Bird, he's going to sign that document. Tell him where to put his X.
And, ma'am, I also have charges. Sorry.
Once you sign that, Mr. Young, I will be finished with you.
Your signature of seller. Right there.
Now, as far as the Game Boy is concerned, or any other nonsense that was in your truck?
No, ma'am. There are other things. We had to have the ignition replaced because we didn't have a key. There's damage to the truck when I got it back.
Get over it.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. You have your truck?
Yes, ma'am.
You have your responsibilities, you live up to your responsibilities, and you'll get a little more sympathy from a court. That's all. Step out.
Yana, this is case 526 on the calendar in the matter of Reynolds versus Sue Trujillo.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Let's see.
Whose car was it that was damaged in the parking lot of the restaurant?
It was mine.
Your name is?
Hillary Sue.
What kind of car did you have, sir?
It is a Lexus SC400.
According to the complaint, because you have a counterclaim, you are in charge of the valet service at a restaurant called Buca de Beppo.
That's correct.
Where is that located?
Huntington Beach, California.
And you all went there for dinner?
Yes. Right.
And when you came out of the restaurant, you were advised that your car was in an accident or something happened to your car.
Yes.
So you went outside, and at some point you contacted Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
At what time did you receive a call, Mr. Reynolds?
Approximately 11:30 p.m.
Where were you when you received the call?
At home.
Who did you receive the call from?
The restaurant called me, then the valet manager called me, and then Hillary Sue called me, and then Sophie Trujillo called me.
Why did you call him?
Well, what happened at first when we first came out, we were never notified that the car had been damaged. So what we did is I went into Buca de Beppo's to ask what I could do because they said they were not liable because they had a valet company that was responsible. So
That's what they said?
That's what they said.
Now, may I please see the damage to the car?
Sure. This is before the accident, this is after.
Now, Mr. Reynolds, you got out of bed, I assume, and went to the restaurant.
I was still up. I'm on call until the restaurant actually closes and the valet's clear.
How long did it take you to get there?
Less than 5 minutes.
Now, jumping to what your claim is, you claim that you were assaulted, your car was assaulted, your suit was assaulted by these people when you got there. So that's your claim. And the defendants say nothing could be farther from the truth. You were really the aggressor. You got there and you were in a foul mood. You wouldn't speak to them. When they tried to speak to you, you assaulted who?
Me.
And
then he grabbed Nico's neck.
So you have a counterclaim, and you
Yes.
have a claim for the damage done to your car.
Yes.
So you got there at approximately 11:35. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
And first you spoke to the valet manager.
Yes.
I assume you asked him what happened.
That's correct.
And did the valet manager acknowledge to you that they had somehow damaged Mr. Tsu's car?
No, they did not.
Well, what did the valet manager tell you?
He said that the client had a claim that there was front bumper damage to their car, which they had no knowledge about. They pulled the car up right in front of the restaurant, and the customer said, my bumper's been damaged.
How long have you been working for this company, sir?
20 years.
And in the 20 years that you've been working for the company, how many times have you responded to situations like this where the valet person says, oh, it's my fault, I damaged the car? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? You understand the question? Would you estimate that that happens 50% of the time?
No, less than that.
A lot less.
Very.
Because that's been my experience. That very rarely do the valet people say, oh, I acknowledge that I damaged the car. That's the way the car got here. So when you spoke to the valet manager and he said, I didn't do this to the car, what did you do?
I took the report from Hillary. I took pictures of his vehicle. I exchanged information.
Tell me what information you exchanged.
My business card.
Can I see the business card?
This was given to Hillary. At that point, he said that. Sorry.
Okay. Did anyone ask you for your insurance?
It's commercial insurance? Yes, Sophie did.
And what did you tell her when she asked for your insurance?
I said, we do not carry commercial insurance policies around with us. You need to call the insurance agent tomorrow, anytime between 9 to 5 p.m.
And what did she say to you after you said, you have to call the office, here's my card?
She became very agitated.
What did she say?
Well, she started threatening me, then hitting my car.
What did she say, is my question.
Well, give me your business card was the first thing she said. And then I was on my way to take pictures of the exit ramp, and that's when she started striking my vehicle.
When you say you were on your way, what did you do? Did you get back into your car?
I was in my car.
What kind of car are you driving?
A Denali, a GMC Denali.
That's a large...
Yeah, large vehicle.
Large vehicle. So you didn't get out of the car when you were talking to her. Did you get out of the car when you were talking to Mr. Tsu?
Yes. And then I got in my car to drive around the restaurant. When I was halfway around the restaurant, that's where Mrs. Trujillo stopped my car.
How did she stop your car?
By standing in front of it. And then I rolled down the window, and then she started asking, what are we going to do about this? And I said, I already exchanged information with Mr. Tsu, and that I'm going to go take pictures of the exit ramp. I've already taken pictures of his car, and then we'll connect him to the insurance agent.
Then what happened?
Oh, she started yelling at me, wishing that I would die on the way home. And I said, is this conversation over? Because we're not talking anymore. And then she said, give me your business card. I gave it to her. And then she started hitting my car.
With what?
Her fists.
Go ahead.
Then I got out of my car, walked around the back, and then that's where the Trujillo and Husu, there were 6 of them, slammed against me, against my car, and assaulted me.
Mr. Tsu did that?
Mr. Tsu,
What
Sophie,
did he do?
They're all pulling and shoving me.
What did Mr. Tsu do?
It was a mass of hands and people. It was dark, raining. It was just Sophie when I came around. When I got out of the vehicle, it was just Sophie. When I came around, her whole family and friends ran up and started hitting and kicking me.
And then what happened?
There was a bunch of yelling and shouting. The valets came up, helped me get the people off of me. The valet called the police, and the police came and separated us.
Can I see the police report, please?
There was no police report.
Why not?
Because I wanted to press charges for assault, and she wanted to press charges for assault. The police said, we'll both go to jail that night. And I said, oh, I don't need any record of this because for my job, they do background reports. And I said, I was just defending myself. And they said, well, you have to explain that to the judge.
So you chose not to prosecute, therefore there was no police report?
Exactly.
Did you go to an emergency room, sir?
No, I didn't need any.
So that you weren't injured as a result of any of this pushing and shoving?
Not me physically, no.
And the suit that you brought is to show me that your sleeve was pulled out of its socket?
Yeah, they pulled on my sleeve, and they ripped my jacket pocket, which emptied all the contents of my jacket pocket onto the ground, which broke the digital recorder, which recorded the whole incident.
Does it work now?
Yes, it does.
I'd like to hear it.
I never knew at that point that he was recording me. I guess he was
What difference does it make, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You behaved badly.
I never touched him, never, but he pushed me away. That's when my son Nico came in and said, hey, do not touch my mom.
Oh, he put his hands on both of you?
On both of us. And I have pictures here to where he put his hands on my son's neck.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Valet manager Lonnie Reynolds claims Hillary Sue, Sophia Trujillo, and Nico Trujillo owe for an assault and for damage to his car. The defendants are countersuing for damage to Hillary's car. They also claim it was Lonnie who assaulted them.
Is there anything else on here, Mr. Reynolds?
It's just me talking to 911.
Okay. Could you turn this off, please? Okay. Now, Mr. Tsu, are you in any way related to Ms. Trujillo?
No, I was working for her.
Now, at the time that this incident happened, you had already received Mr. Reynolds' card. Is that correct?
Yes.
So my question to you, Ms. Trujillo, is why did you get involved in this incident at all?
Your Honor, the reason why I went around was because I had went around because I knew that there had to be a place that they wrecked the car because they kept saying that they did not wreck it. So I did. I walked around the entire building of Buca de Beppo's and I found the location where they hit the dip and damaged the car. So when I came around, that's when he was getting ready to leave. My son called me and he's like, Mom, he's getting ready to leave. He's not going to stay here. And I said, he has to stay so he can talk to me.
No, he doesn't.
But I was trying to make sure that Hillary would get his car taken care of.
It has nothing to do with you. He had already gotten the business card. His car was damaged at the parking lot. Mr. Reynolds acknowledged that to the police.
No, but
Judd! Okay. I just heard what you said on the recording. You said his car was damaged by the valet in the parking lot. That's what you said to the police.
That's correct.
Right?
Yes.
Why didn't you acknowledge responsibility to Mr. Tsu? I mean, you know, they've already been eating and drinking for 3 hours. I don't know whether he was drinking. I'm not so sure about Miss Trujillo. I mean, I heard her foul mouth, and I heard her overreacting, and I heard your gait, which would have infuriated me were it my car, where you say, you modified your car.
Yes.
Which means we're not responsible if you modified your car. That's not what you told the police. You told the police the valet damaged the car, which means you damaged the car. Why didn't you just say that to Mr. Tsu?
I did say that to Mr. Tsu, that we are not responsible for his car since he modified it and he needs to speak to the insurance and they will evaluate it.
But you are responsible.
Not for a modified vehicle.
Who says so?
Almost all insurance policies state when you modify your vehicle, unless you go back and say, we have altered our vehicle to this extent and we'd like additional coverage, they will only cover just a stock car.
Listen to me very carefully, sir. Then you have to teach your valets not to take possession of a modified vehicle. Because once you accept the responsibility of a car, you're responsible not to slam it into a pole or slam it anyplace else. And you didn't equivocate when you said to the police, our valets damaged the car. You didn't say, our valets damaged the car, but it was a modified vehicle, therefore we're not responsible. I didn't hear that. I heard what you said to the police, which was, I'm the good guy here. I don't know what happened. Here I am talking in a very quiet tone to people who are a little excited. I don't know why everybody's getting upset. I came here, my valets were responsible for the damage. We're going to take care of the damage. And she just assaulted my car and assaulted me. That's what you said, in effect. The truth of the matter is, Mr. Reynolds, you were passive-aggressive that evening. All you had to do was say, it's our responsibility because once your valets take control of a car, they're responsible. And if they don't want to accept the responsibility of a modified car, and I don't know how it was modified, and I don't care, then they don't accept the responsibility. They say, you'll have to park that car yourself. I've been to Buca de Beppo, not in Huntington Beach, but I've been there. You can either valet park your car or you can park yourself, right?
That's correct.
So you say, we're not accepting responsibility for your car? Park yourself. You chose not to do that. You chose to accept the responsibility for his car, so you're responsible. Now, you behaved badly, Miss Trujillo, but I'm going to hear you.
I did, ma'am, and I apologize.
You behaved badly. Wasn't your business. You had the business card. There's no question in my mind that you hit his car?
Basically what I did when he was coming around, he was going to take off again, and I was close to his car by like the back wheel. So what I did is I hit the back window with my hand, and I did touch his vehicle. I did. And I apologize for behaving the way I did. Unfortunately, I kept asking him, me being a business owner,
what did you want him to do at midnight?
Professionally.
You're absolutely right. He should have done that.
And we would have never had that.
He didn't.
Right.
He didn't. But that doesn't allow you.
Does not allow my language. No, it does not. No. And I apologize.
I want you to tell me what happened when he got out of the car.
So what he did is when he got out of the car, he's like, step away from my vehicle, step away from my vehicle.
Did you?
Yes, I did. And then that's when he got his hands like this. I never touched him, never. My language may have been very bad, and I apologize again, but he pushed me away. And you can hear on the tape, that's when my son Nico came in and said, hey, do not touch my mom. And so Nico's separating me, and he's separating Lonnie.
So he put his hands on both of you?
On both of us. And I have pictures here to where he put his hands on my son's neck.
Can I see that, please?
And also the necklace that he broke off the night that it happened.
Tell me about when you put your hands on his neck, Mr.
It was in
Reynolds.
self-defense, pushing them away from me. If you listen to the tape, you can actually hear them kicking and hitting me if you listen closely.
If they were to hit and kick you, sir, you would have had injuries.
Not necessarily. I was standing between me and the car, pushing these massive people away.
Listen to me. You told me a moment ago that there was just pushing and shoving and no injuries. That's why you didn't go to the hospital. That's why you were injured. There was pushing and shoving. Now you're telling me that there was kicking.
Yes, I had a footprint on my pants.
I don't see any injuries. I see injuries to his neck.
I didn't have any physical injuries to myself.
How did the injuries to his neck happen?
Pushing him away from me and getting him off of me.
Now, when did he come over to you, sir? Before or after you put your hands on his mother?
Before. As I rounded the back of the vehicle is when they got me.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a minute, Mr. Reynolds. I don't believe that he came up to you until you just got out of your car and pushed his mother away. And I think that what happens is, if you put your hands on his mother, he reacts. Is that what happened?
Correct.
He shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have put your hands on his mother. Touching your car is no excuse for putting your hands on his mother. You didn't hurt her, but you put your hands on her first. How much is it going to cost to fix your car?
We have an estimate here from Lexus. It's $1,847.58.
You want to have a counter estimate that shows it's a fraction of that to fix the same vehicle?
From Lexus?
Yes, from Lexus.
Oh, I'd like to see.
Yes. Here's the pictures of the car, and that's including the aftermarket parts and the stock parts.
I don't know what it means, aftermarket parts.
He modified his vehicle by putting a bumper that hangs real low up front for looks.
Did you do that?
No.
No. You want to know something? I drive a car that has a low bumper too. It happens not to be a Lexus. Do you know how many times the bumper gets pulled off and cut like this? Twice so far.
I have pictures showing how low his car is to the ground.
I don't care. It doesn't make any difference, sir. I just told you.
Okay.
I just told you. You're responsible. If you don't want to accept cars that are modified, he says he didn't do it. Maybe he bought it that way. Who knows? If you don't want to accept it, train your people not to accept the cars and tell them to park elsewhere. Once you accept a car, you accept it as it is. So, you can't double talk me, Mr. Reynolds. You are legally responsible, and they can take the car wherever they like to have it fixed. This is not an estimate that you just gave me. Lexus estimate is an estimate. And that's about, unfortunately, what it costs for a new bumper. I can tell you that because they tried to get that from me from my car until I explained to them that this was the 20th time that it had happened to a car that I knew about. And I said, if you have a design flaw in your car, that's your fault, not mine. Anyway, this is your fault, not his. And you have to take care of it. That's on your counterclaim.
Yes.
So you can sit down.
Okay, thank you.
Now, you were not injured. Is that right?
No, ma'am, I was not.
You have a claim for what?
He was suing us, so I counterclaimed with him because he said that we damaged his pen, his jacket. There's an estimate here saying that he lost hours of revenue, gratuities, a day out of service, his
Just
car
a
was
second.
out.
Is that a claim that he
Like it?
filed? No. Take it. Go like this. Good. Perfect. Mr. Reynolds had a job, and his job was to calm the situation that day. I don't think that he did that. I think that he spoke in a monotone voice, which at some point can be very irritating. Mr. Reynolds should have done when he reported there that evening is say, I'm sorry, our valet lied to me, or at least said it to himself. Our valet lied to me. He did, in fact, damage your car. If you call the office tomorrow morning, we'll make arrangements to have it fixed. That's what you should have said. You chose not to say that. Ms. Trujillo was absolutely wrong in putting her hands on your car. Now, do you have photographs of your car to show any damage to your car as a result of her putting her hands on your car?
No, it's not my car. It's a company vehicle.
Very good. So that you're not suing for that?
Yes, I am. I had to pay for it.
Well, let me see pictures of the damage.
I do not have pictures.
You do not have pictures of the damage?
No.
You have pictures of this damage?
Yes.
Well, then you
Those
should have
are
taken
ours.
pictures. Shh. Should have taken pictures of that damage, Mr. Reynolds. You know the business. You've been in the business 20 years. So your claim for damage to the car is dismissed, as is your claim for assault, because the first person that put their hands on somebody was you when you put your hands on Miss Trujillo, who acted badly, whose counterclaim I'm dismissing. But you were the one who put your hands on her first. Now, as far as his claim is concerned, I believe that he was protecting his mother because you put your hands on her. And you did, in fact, injure and scratch him. Would have been smart to sort of stay out of it. Your mother could have taken care of herself, you know, just using her words. But you're not allowed to put your hands on another human being. So, Mr. Tsu, you get for your car $1,847.58.
Yeah.
And you get nothing. And you get $250 for the scratches on your neck because he can't do that.
Okay.
And Mr. Reynolds, you just got a dressing down. That's all. Your case is dismissed.
Yeah, it's case number 495 on the calendar in the matter of Dye versus Springer. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a model.
You make a lot of money?
It's average. I wouldn't say a lot.
Well, give me an example. You filed your tax returns last year. What did you earn in your tax returns last year?
I just started modeling like maybe 3 months ago.
Well, then what did you do last year?
I worked at Dillard's.
And how much did you earn at Dillard's last year?
$5,000. I didn't work many hours.
Well, where did you live?
In San Angelo.
With whom?
The defendant, Jeffrey Scott Springer.
I'm sorry.
Was he supporting you?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you certainly weren't supporting yourself,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Springer, what do you...
I'm listening. I'm sorry. I mean,
What do you do for a living, sir?
I work in a call center.
Call center.
Yes, ma'am. For Progressive Insurance.
And how long have you been doing that?
I've only been doing that for about 3 months in Austin.
Sir, what I want you to do is tell me, Mr. Springer, what you were doing last year when you were supporting Miss Dye.
I worked for Capital One at a call center also.
They didn't do that commercial that they do and fashion it after you, did they?
No, ma'am.
Adorable. You were supporting the plaintiff when you were living together?
That would be correct.
How much did you earn?
$25 a year.
$25,000?
That'd be correct.
Allowed you to buy that beautiful gold chain that you're wearing that's blinding me. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Miss Dye, so he's supporting you for the year, right?
Yes, ma'am. But before last year, I also worked at a gym. I managed a gym in San Angelo.
$425 ain't supporting nothing, so I don't see where you get
$6, thank you.
$6. Keep you in mascara.
$6.
Now, this is your claim. Your claim is that you purchased, on your credit, new rims and wheels for him.
I financed them for him.
Did you use a credit card?
No, ma'am.
Did you pay cash?
No. I went to Credit World with him in San Angelo.
It's a rent to own.
A rent to own.
There you go.
Because that's something that nobody can do without. New rims and wheels, right, Bert?
Rent to own rims and
Rent
wheels.
to own rims and wheels.
I have a picture of it.
You want to know something? I don't need to see it. Unless they have a picture of a bird in the middle, I'm not interested in taking a look at it. Because I think that's the most ridiculous thing. You know, I can understand if you buy new tires because your tires are bald and you need tires to get around, but somebody who earns $4.25 an hour and somebody who is supporting two people on not a lot of money doesn't need fancy spokes for their car. You know, you should put away some money maybe for college education.
That would be why she was getting supported by me, is because she was going to college.
Good. Anyway, you financed these rims and wheels. You paid some of it off, but when you broke up, he stopped paying the rest.
Correct.
No, my arm is hurt. I can't.
Rest it on the table, sir.
It's
Don't
hard.
cross your arms. What?
It's hard.
It's hard?
I mean, go
then
ahead.
just suffer for a while you're here.
Oh, I'd be more than happy to try to.
Good. Did you pay for some of these rims and wheels?
Yes.
How much did you pay?
Everything but the $12.56.
Okay, so why don't you owe her for the rest?
As we broke up, I moved back to Austin. I went to jail for driving on a suspended license. I informed her that I was not going to pay for the car. I called the dealership. They had impounded the car. I informed her that I needed the manufactured tires back to give the dealership so I could get those tires back and give them either to her or to Credit World. She no longer had the manufactured tires. So she didn't give them to me. They gave me 20 days to pick them up off that vehicle. She never gave me nothing, so I could not get them.
So your defense is that you contacted her after how long?
4 or 5 months, maybe.
And then you called her and you said, listen, if you want the rims and wheels, because they're going to repossess the car, you have to come down with the original ones.
Correct.
Where were the original ones?
They gave me 20 days.
No.
I'm not sure where the original was.
Well, what did you expect her to do? Hold on to the original ones forever?
Well, most people hold on to their manufacturer.
Most people hold on to their rims. I'm going to tell you something.
Manufacturers.
I'm going to tell you something. Mr. Springer, without going into make and model, suffice it to say, sir, that I have a lot of cars. I have never held on to, well, not only have I never held on to rims and wheels, I've never bought rims and wheels. I buy a new car. Car comes with wheels. That's what's on the car. That's what I drive. They're round, they work, that's fine.
That's true.
How many rims and wheels do you have in your garage?
Just sitting there off the car.
Off the car?
None.
None. You want to know why? Because we have other junk to put in garages. You know, where are you supposed to put the bicycles and the trash cans?
And the cars.
And the cars. So, Mr. Springer, let us assume, boy, I can't tolerate him. Sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
We would like to know, what is it you take?
What do you mean, what does it not take?
You seem to be so happy. Do you take a special kind of coffee or tea? Do you drink a special kind of juice?
And later today,
my first child, I gave up to adoption. And she came to me and said that since I did not have a car, that if I gave my child to her friends, she would give me the car.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Christy Dye claims ex-boyfriend Jeffrey Springer owes for new wheels and tires. Jeffrey says he supported Christy for 2 years.
Mr. Springer, I want to ask you a question. Sometimes I wake up in a bad mood. Now, I know that that might be hard for you to believe. It might be hard for the rest of the world to believe that sometimes I wake up in a bad mood. And I might venture to say sometimes Officer Petrie Hawkins-Byrd might wake up in a bad mood. Sometimes. Not often, but sometimes. We would like to know, what is it you take, sir?
What do you mean, what does it not take?
You seem to be so happy, sir.
Yeah, I mean,
you seem to be inordinately happy.
It's hilarious to me that she's suing me over $1,200.
You seem to be happy under the most dire circumstances.
Yeah.
So we would like to know, do you take a special kind of coffee or tea? What mixture do you take in the morning? Do you drink a special kind of juice? Do you eat a special kind of cereal in the morning to make you as happy as you are?
No, I'm happy individual.
You're happy?
I mean, but
I hope you're happy. All the way to the bank where you're going to send her $1,257.03. Because I don't think I don't think that she has to hold on to your old rims in case your car gets impounded. Goodbye, Mr. Springer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Parties are excused.
You gotta be
Step
kidding
out.
me. $1,200? Oh. My chain costs $200, boss man.
I'm pleased. I mean, he owed me the money, and I'm glad it's over and done with, and we can both go on with our own lives.
It's not petty to her, because she needs the $1,200. I don't need it.
We were together, and we were in a relationship.
I don't feel like I owe her anything.
I'm a nice person, and I mean, I try to do a favor for someone, and look what happened.
If anything, she owes me.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Breeden versus Strybe. Step forward, please.
23-year-old Michelle Breeden is suing her mother, Ollie Strybe, for breaking their agreement regarding the sale of a home. Michelle says Ollie kept proceeds that were supposed to go to her.
Ms. Breeden, the defendant is your mother. You and your husband and child or children?
2 children.
2 children. Moved into a home that your mother bought, and the idea was that you would live there with an option to buy it. At such time when your credit became substantial enough for you to get a mortgage and your finances sort of settled down. While you were living there, you claimed that you made certain improvements in the house, invested close to $4,000. And then, according to you, your mother decided that since the housing market had taken off, she was no longer interested in selling you the house at the price that she had paid for it, which was your agreement. But she wanted to sell it on the open market, which she did at a profit. And you believe that she should pay you for the money that you invested in improving the house.
Yes, sure.
That's the lawsuit.
Yes.
Your mother says that you and your husband, was it your husband, separated. You were no longer interested in purchasing the house. You moved out. She did, in fact, sell the house at a profit. But it is her claim that you were the one who told her, I can't buy the house anymore because we're separated. So she sold the house to somebody else. When did you purchase this house, Miss Strybey?
In April 2004.
And how much did you pay for it?
$102,500.
And what was the financial arrangement with your daughter with regard to how much rent she was going to pay?
She agreed to pay the mortgage payment on the house.
Which was how much, Miss Breeden?
It was just shy of $900, Your Honor.
Okay. I'd like you to tell me when you were advised by your mother that she was planning on selling the house.
I was advised about 6 months prior to moving out that she was going to sell the house because she was no longer interested in selling us the house at what she paid for it. She was interested in making a profit off of us and wanted to sell the home to us for nearly $160,000.
That wasn't the original
Just a
agreement.
second. Did you discuss that with your mother? You said you found out. Did you have a conversation with her?
Yes, I had a conversation with Ollie. I told her that I couldn't make payments on $160,000, so we decided that we were no longer going to buy it because she wanted so much more for it.
Okay. Now, what was your arrangement with your mother at the time she purchased the house?
When she purchased the house, she was going to let us move into it. We were going to cover the mortgage for 1 year, and then after 1 year, we were going to try to get our finances in a situation that we could get appropriate financing.
And what happened in 2005?
Right after my second child was born, we went in to get a mortgage. It was not satisfactory. We discussed renting it longer from her. That was fine with her. A couple months into 2005, she was trying to buy another home for herself. So she discussed selling the home if we could not buy it from her. I said, well, we've already put nearly $4,000 worth of our own money into it. And if you sold it, I would at least like to get that money back out of it to use as a down payment if we chose to move somewhere else. That was fine with her. We moved out the end of February, and she put the house on the market in March. It took her till November 1st to sell the home.
Gotcha.
When she sold the home, I came to her halfway through November, and she said something about she didn't want to discuss it through the holidays, so I came back to her at the beginning of January of 2007. By that time, she said that she didn't have the money and that she thought that since she had to pay the mortgage from the time we moved out to the time it sold, that she believed she no longer owed us the amount that we were asking for.
Gotcha. Okay. Now we'll hear you.
Michelle and her husband were expecting their second child and living in a hotel. And although Michelle and my husband doesn't get along very well, I didn't want them to be living in a hotel when the second child.
So you made
we bought
this arrangement.
This house for them.
Got it.
The arrangement was that she would pay the mortgage payment for the year.
I got it so far. There are certain things that are not contested. You were a nice mom, bought the house, let them live in it, covered the mortgage payment, and then there came a time when you wanted to buy another house. You couldn't buy another house because you already had this house. So let's go.
The arrangement was for her to buy the house at the end of a year. I told her I'd give her a year.
She
so
said that.
At the end of that year, she didn't have her finances fixed.
Got it. That's what she said.
So her husband had moved out. She said that she couldn't afford to make the payments anymore with him paying for someplace else to live, and that she was fine with me going ahead and putting the house on the market, and that they would move out. Our original agreement for the year was, at the end of the year, if I sold her the house, I would credit her how much she's paid for the mortgage, so that would cover her 10% down she needed to buy it herself.
I'm talking about the $3,900 that your daughter says you discussed at the time she moved out, that she had invested in improving the house, and that you had said to her, the time when the house is sold, I'll give that back to you.
I don't remember that conversation, not when she was moving out. I only discussed with her when we first bought the house that any improvements she made in the house at that time, if she didn't buy the house, I would pay her back for it at the end of the year.
Oh, fine. So that discussion was had. Fine. Let me see what you put into the house. How much did you sell the house for, Ms. Strybey?
$149,500.
Okay. What did you tile?
We tiled about 1,000 square feet, the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, both bathrooms, and a hallway. The only thing in the house that wasn't tiled was the 3 bedrooms.
She bought the tile and I put it down.
It's fine. You got the profit. How much did you clear, Ms. Strybey?
Altogether, we probably made about $20,000 off the house.
Okay.
And I did give her, during this period when we were selling the house, they had repossessed her van and she had no transportation. So I signed over my 2000 Jeep Grand Cherokee to her.
That agreement for that Jeep has nothing at all to do with the home. My first child, I gave up to adoption within this period of time. And I was going to give it to a couple that was in Miami that I did not know. And she came to me and said that since I did not have a car, that if I gave my child to her friends, she would give me the car, and her friends are very good people. But that was the agreement for the Jeep, and that has nothing at all to do with this home.
That's not true. I would never offer to sell my grandchild. That was what he needed, because he had already been taken out of her possession once and placed with me for custody.
How old is he?
He's 6. He's 2 weeks younger than my 6-year-old. I have a 6-year-old as well. And during this period, which is why the husband moved out, is because he was taken away from them and put in my custody.
This still has nothing to do with the house, Your Honor.
It did, and that was the point where she couldn't afford to make the payments anymore.
Where is your husband now?
My husband right now is in Cocoa, Florida.
Do you live with him?
No, I do not.
Who do you live with?
I live with 2 roommates, and I cover a third of the rent. My friend Lisa and her husband cover a third of the rent, and then my brother-in-law and his wife cover the other third of the rent.
Are you still married?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
This arrangement just happened within the last few weeks because her husband's been in jail.
At the time that you were living in this house, who was working, you or your husband?
My husband was working, and I owned my own business.
What kind of business?
It was a children's consignment shop.
That I helped her open.
So you were both working?
Yes.
So whatever money you invested in the house, you would only be entitled to half of this. Is that right? The other half would be your husband's?
Yes, Your Honor, if you want to look, yes, that would be correct.
Okay. You think your mother has been reasonable or unreasonable with you?
I think my mother has been selfish and incapable of being a mother.
In the relatively short time, Ms. Strybio, that I have to spend with you, I'm never going to be able to figure out the pathology of your family. But it clearly seems to me that your daughter, whether rightfully or wrongfully, labors under the assumption that you had an agreement, which I find to be potentially a valid agreement, that whatever improvements they put into the house that might inure to your benefit when you sold the house, you would reimburse her for if the house wasn't sold to them. That's a reasonable expectation. And truth is, you sold the house for a profit. And if it were me, I would have said, you know what? She's not in great shape. Let me give her what she put into it and let her move on. That's what I would have done.
I did offer, when she started looking for another home right away, I went out with her, and I was more than willing to help her find another home. And if she at some point in the future, you know, was going to buy one, her father and I had already discussed, you know, we would each pay half the deposit. I've given her lots of money.
I assume that that's true.
But I've always made her pay me back, and I think she's very ungrateful.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1950, which represents 1/2 of the amount that you invested in the house. The other half is not your claim, belongs to your husband.
Okay.
Got it? Good. Thank you. That's all.
तो मैं आ गया था स्कूल से वापस और अभी थोड़ा सा रेस्ट करेंगे और फिर खाना खाएंगे और खाना खाने के बाद फिर रूटीन आपको बताते हैं कि आगे क्या हो। तो खाना शाना मैंने खा लिया था और फिर उसके बाद मैं अपना स्कूल का काम करने के लिए बैठ गया। तो थोड़ी देर तक मैं अपना काम ख़त्म कर लूँगा, फिर उसके बाद मिलते हैं आपसे। तो काम ख़त्म करने के बाद मैं सो गया और जब मैं उठा तो शाम हो गई थी। तो मैंने असर की नमाज़ पढ़ी, तो अभी मैं नमाज़ पढ़ के आ गया। तो इस व्लॉग को यहीं पर ख़त्म करते हैं। उम्मीद करता हूँ कि आपको मेरा ये व्लॉग बहुत अच्छा लगा होगा। मेरे इस चैनल को मस्ट सब्सक्राइब, लाइक, कमेंट और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा शेयर करें। मिलते हैं आपको नेक्स्ट व्लॉग में। अल्लाह हाफ़िज़।